All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Serious Angler Podcast, powered by our friends over at X2 Power Batteries. We're back with the captain, Mr. Andy Full, and as always, I'm your host, Bailey Egbrett. Andy, what's going on, man?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just rounding out an insane birthday weekend for my 5-year-old daughter and giant family reunion and back to fishing this week. So, yeah, just
Make it sound like a bad thing.
just another week. No, it's not
Just
bad.
another.
Thing.
God,
Just another
I wish
day.
that was just another week for me.
It could be. I mean, you do fish like every week too, just not every day.
Not week long, yeah, like maybe one day per week.
Listen, weekend still has week in it, so you're fishing every week.
One day per week. Whereas just
Still
every
counts.
day.
Still counts.
You're looking for.
I'm not out there every day. At least like 3 days a week.
Let's just say your calendar. You're looking more at the days you don't have to fish. Where I'm looking at towards the days I can go fish.
I mean, I won't lie. There are some stretches where I'm like, please blow today. I just want to sleep in. But no, it's been good. The fishing on Erie right now is very tough. Like they're in that midsummer kind of, all the smallmouth haunts are taken over by sheephead right now, etc. So it's a grind out there. So I'm just ready to go largemouth fishing, to be honest.
Great day if you're a sheephead angler.
Oh yeah, like I think on Friday was my last time on Erie. I think we had 15 sheephead over 10 pounds. Like by like 9 o'clock, I was like, I'm done with this. My arms hurt. Every time you hook one, it's like net one, it's heavy. You hook one, it's heavy. They pull forever in 40 feet of water. And I'm just like, I am over this.
Good grief, dude.
Yeah. Everyone else can have them. Take them. I don't want them anymore.
I don't want
them. So what's up with you, man?
Dude, I went and fished the Susquehanna event this past weekend, which was awesome. Every time I get to the Susquehanna River, it's always a freaking blast, man. Because I was telling people, because there was the Bassmaster Kayak Series event down there. There's 224 people that fished it, which is a large tournament. But one of the people I was chatting with, my buddies I was staying with, Jose, who actually runs Doc's Tackle over near Honeoye, who's a great dude. For anybody that's running through New York or in the area, go check out Doc's Tackle. I know we work with Omnia, but Doc's Tackle are great people. But I was telling him, and I was like, dude, this river, like I know we're fishing a tournament, but it is impossible. I shouldn't say impossible. It's very challenging for me to get in a tournament mindset on this river because every time I'm there, my inner child, explorer comes out, and I just like. I kind of get lost in it, which I think is a good thing because it's just that
it's freeing.
It is, it's like you kind of lose yourself in, exploring the different things. It's all these little mini islands on this river. And besides certain stretches where all you can hear is the highway, like it's actually extremely peaceful. Like one of the days of practice, I literally pulled up to an island. I had my little Arctic soft cooler with me that had my lunch. I pull up there. I rope off the kayak. I'm sitting on this boulder in the middle of the river eating my lunch, and I snooze for a 20-minute nap. And
man,
dude, I was just it was so peaceful. And I'm sitting there, it was one of those moments where like you kind of time slows down a little bit, and you're like, yeah, we take things way too serious because this is pretty freaking awesome. So it's hard for me to like get in the mode of like gotta go, practice whatever, get ready for competition, but. It's such a cool freaking place. I'm going back next weekend for the Kayak Adventure Series. I had a great event except for day 2. I was in 7th.
Should have been a better event, but
yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Dumped a big bag like several people did on day 2. It definitely stings, but it is what it is. I was for a guy who's known, across the kayak side as being an offshore, electronics northern guy. It was kind of cool to be competing with the biggest names from a river rat standpoint and keep up with them. So it was cool being in 7th day 1. And, I found the fish to do it day 2, just simply the small, minute details that, the river rats understand to put those fish in the boat. I didn't. And it was a learning lesson. So it was cool. Either way, it's going to make for great YouTube content, things like that. You can see my heartbreak on day 2, losing a couple monsters. But either way, dude, I can't be mad about it. I can't, because for the pure fact that it's a Susquehanna. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It really is. And so I'm excited to go back next week. There's a kayak adventure series and like 2 other tournaments going on that I'm going to triple dip, and go fish. That it's a different stretch of it that I've never been to before. So I'm actually really excited for that. But yeah, man, it was awesome. A great weekend. I got off work a couple days too, which it's nice to go and spend 4 days out on the river. But which, that being said, it's been a lot of time off. Shouldn't say time off. Time away, traveling, working, things like that, especially with iCast too. So I wanted to mention to people that, listen to the different shows we have here on the network, like Kayak Fishing Weekly and Business from the Bass Boat, that I've been slacking on some of the back end things. So some of those shows have not gone up. Some of the shows at Serious Angler kind of slacked a little bit. So I apologize. It's been super busy, but those shows are firing now that we're back home and able to get some work done. Everything's back up and running on that front, which we have some big news coming down the pipe here from Serious Angler. The team is growing, and so we'll be making some announcements here soon for some folks, but that hopefully will alleviate any time that one of us is traveling and not slowing anything down for you guys. So you always have the fresh content coming week after week. But we have a great episode tonight. We got Mr. Logan Parks that's going to be joining us here in a few minutes. And then later tonight, the host of Kayak Fishing Weekly, Justin Largent, will be joining us. We'll do some little team chat here, talking about some different topics across the fishing industry right now, as well as have some fun. Before we do that, if you guys have not seen on Omnia Fishing, for pro members, this is for Omnia Pro members, you can get 20% back on all rods and reels right now, which it's a pretty freaking good deal. So that means 20%. If you buy a $100 rod, you get $20 back. So you can definitely stock up on some free baits, some free some products to use on Omnia Fishing, as well as right now they are doing a 25% off Yamamoto through August 6th. So you have a full week right now to save 25% off of all the Senkos that you want. Because it looked like another record has fallen, and the Sabine River largemouth record was fallen as well, with a almost 7-pounder.
That was a giant.
Yeah. So it's pretty dang cool, especially after the New York State record fell with from a Senko as well. That one also fell from a Senko. So make sure you go take advantage of that. Links are down below to Omnia Fishing. If you get anything that's not on sale, make sure you guys use Series 10, and they'll save you guys 10% off. But make sure you click those links down below and go check those out. And Andy, I think without further ado, let's get our guest on here for tonight, Mr. Logan Parks. What's going on, dude?
What's up, guys? How are y'all?
Good evening. Good, man.
Welcome to the North, my friend.
Yeah, dude. I'm in the Northland, in one of your old stomping grounds at the moment over here in Cortland. What school is over here?
Cortland.
Cortland. Nice. So you went to college here?
Yeah, I was at college there for 4 years. That's where I met my wife. They call it the SUNY system because it's the State University of New York. They call it SUNY Cortland. But yeah, it was cool getting a text from you. You're like something along the lines of like, "Hey, I'm in Cortland or whatever, something in your stomping grounds," and I had told you where to go to the famous watering holes.
Yeah, the local watering hole. Might have to go visit that Thursday or Friday night.
Hey, sounds like an Elite Series reunion at the Red Jug Pub for all my Cortland people. Sometimes there's my old teammates and college buddies will pop into this chat and they'll know exactly what the Red Jug Pub is. Many nights were spent down
the Red Goat Pub.
The Red Jug.
Red Jug.
Like hug jugs. Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, that is the place to go.
Is that where you met your wife, at the Red Jug?
No. We spent many nights there, but no, we did not meet there. Dude, it's cool having you guys up here, and I'm assuming you're doing some fishing up in the north before things go down for y'all at Champlain.
Yeah, I went to Cayuga yesterday, worked today on just around the house, worked on the boat and organizing everything, getting ready for Champlain tomorrow. May go back to Cayuga, might go to Seneca, might go to I mean, there's like 12 places to choose from within an hour of here, so it's a pretty cool little place. I don't know where I'm gonna go. I might just roll the dice tomorrow and just plug something in when I get in the truck.
I feel like that's the way to do it, especially
It's
right
kind of
now.
a fun way to live right where you're at too, because there's like some little bodies of water too that can be really good as well.
Yeah.
We'll send you some little juice holes if you want to go check
Yeah.
out, look around.
Yeah, I'm all about the little juice holes. I mean, the big famous places are great, but I also like the little places where they bite really good.
Yeah, that's right. There's not 400 boats on it. I
Yeah.
think after the record fell at Cayuga for largemouth and now smallmouth, smallmouth and now largemouth, reverse that around. I think Cayuga is going to become the Gunnersville of the North in regards
Yeah, I feel
to
like
fishing.
it's been overlooked a little bit. I mean, because of the notoriety that obviously St. Lawrence and Ontario gets, and MLF, I guess, has been to Cayuga a couple years in a row and shown that it's got some really big ones. But I feel like
Yeah.
the St. Lawrence always draws a lot of. I mean, I'm not up here all the time, but that's just what I don't hear about Cayuga as often as some of those other places, and now all everyone talks about is Cayuga.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to dive into that more, but I want to refrain from any St. Lawrence talk and try not to get in any
Yeah.
treacherous conversation for you boys. But either way, looking forward to seeing all you guys up in the north, and it's always kind of cool when you watch, the pros like yourself come up here to where we grew up fishing, things like that, and see you guys, absolutely make it look easy while we're sitting here struggling to figure stuff out in the summer.
I don't know about it. I don't know about all that. I feel like a lot of the times the weights are, really good, obviously, but like people don't understand the struggle that it took to get there. Like 5, 6 bites a day, even.
For sure, yeah.
The weights
And
look
so,
like the places are so great, but they're really tough sometimes.
yeah, I mean, the recent derbs have just been incredible. I mean, looking at St. Clair too, like just absolutely stacked. Like if you catch a 5 versus a 4, you're gonna be good. But if you're catching only 4 and a quarters, you're screwed, which
Yeah,
is just a
crazy.
nuts concept to think about.
That's what's tough. That's what'll be interesting for me at Champlain. I mean, we had the Open on St. Lawrence last year, but I at least on the St. Lawrence, like there's a decent amount of 6s and 5s and 5.5 swim around out there, and you can catch one of those game changers. But like at Champlain, it's gonna be like I'm catching 3.5s. I have to leave and have to go find some 4s. I'm catching 4s, but I need 4.25s. So that's gonna be. I'm looking forward to that. I'll be good.
You think you'll? Because I feel like in a time like that, like say take Champlain, where you're in tournament mode, where obviously you're dialed, you're focused. What I was talking about earlier with the Susky, like it's a hard place for me to go and focus at because of just the scenery and things like that. Champlain's one of those beautiful places to be where you can kind of get lost out there. Is that a kind of place you'll go back to after St. Lawrence where you can just go fun fish and not have to worry about being in tournament mode, where if you're catching the crap out of 3.5, you don't have to leave. You can actually just catch the crap out of them. Yeah.
I have a hard time like being content when I know there's like more better fish. Like me and my dad went out there and pre-practice and found out a decent little way to catch a lot of 3.5 pounders. And after like 15, 20 minutes of it, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can do this easily, but like this, I want to go find 4.5, 5 pounders, and so but it is always it's nice being able to get some bites because it's not that easy to catch 20, 30 fish a day in Alabama right now around the house. So I love coming up here this time of year.
Heck yeah. Well, dude, let's dive into. I know we got some big stuff to get into, and we're definitely going to get into that here in a little bit. But I kind of wanted to talk about the rookie season here because I think the last time we had you on was before the season even started. So we'll love to kind of do a little check-in for you, and like, kind of how you're feeling going into the last 2 events, the Northern Swing for your. It seemed like yesterday the start of your rookie season is now, in the next couple of weeks coming to an end.
Yeah, dude, it's gone by super quick. It seems like I've blinked my eyes and we're halfway through the season. I blink again and ICAST is over and we're ramping up for the last two. And I mean, with them being back to back, there's no like long pause. Like that's it. It's over. So sitting good right now. I mean, I'm not obviously everyone wants to be first in AOY right now, but for my rookie season, being inside the classic cut at this point in the season after the two terrible finishes I had in Florida, I'm pretty happy with that, being able to fight my way back out of the hole I kind of dug myself. And I started out really good, got a lot of confidence after the first two, and I wouldn't say I was like cocky, but maybe a little bit overconfident. I'm like, yeah, this is easier than I thought it was going to be. And then I got really humbled in Florida. So I wish I could have those two back. But, I learned a lot, and to be able to, have 3 good tournaments in a row. And I'm 2, good tournaments away from making my first classic, and just making the classic my rookie year was kind of the secondary goal behind, rookie of the year and all that. And that's pretty much out of the question, which is crazy, being even 29th in points with 2 events left. I mean, I'm 8th place in rookie of the year, and I'm 29th.
That's ridiculous, actually.
And Rob was saying he's 16th in the points, I think, and he's 7th in rookie of the year. To put it in perspective.
That is, I'm looking at it right now. That is stupid.
You should put it up on the screen so people are tuning in here can see.
I think Milliken is 9th, and he's also in the classic cut still.
He is. Yeah. So we'll look here. So G 16th, 480 points. You got Kyle Patrick, Tyler Williams, Wesley Gore, JT, Garrett, Trey.
Unbelievable, man. I mean,
that is stupid.
Unbelievable.
That is ridiculous. So, I mean, I got to say, so 29th, I mean, as a rookie, that's got to be pretty damn cool, especially, come from having a lot of success in the college ranks. And, dude, I mean, have you taken the chance to go look at this? Like, a bunch of these guys that you've looked up to for forever, now that you're competing against, but you're coming down the home stretch. You come down the people that you're ranking higher than this year. You got all these huge names, people with so much history in the sport that have wins, Taku, who just came off of a dub, and, the Koya, who's got all the hype and things like that. And you look at all these gigantic names that you are in front of. Is it a little like weird for you? Almost like, how does that even feel, man? It's got to be crazy.
It's definitely surreal. I mean, just to think that even 10 years ago, I was fishing my first tournament, maybe 12 years ago, but just to come from, that's not that long ago, 12 years for fishing your first tournament to being able to compete against the top of the world guys it's pretty dang cool. And, I mean, it's been awesome, man. I mean, I don't have really anything bad to say about it. I've loved the experience. It's been great, and I hope I can stay above those guys and move above some more before the season's over. Because it's kind of been like a moment or a change in mentality of like, oh wow, like from the past probably 2 or 3 years of like, there goes so and so, or like now it's like, oh, I want to beat him, like I can beat him, I gotta beat him this week, kind of thing. Like I've started to look at it a little differently. But it's been a lot of fun. I'm super blessed to be here.
Heck yeah, dude. And so I guess with that, I got a few, questions that, looking back on your season, what was the biggest surprise for you going into it? Something that maybe you didn't expect or kind of caught you off guard about being a rookie or being on the elites in general?
Biggest surprise? I mean, I know what I want to say, but I don't really want to go there.
Totally understand.
So, second biggest surprise has probably been, I mean, truly just like how good these guys are. Like I knew they were good, and like I didn't expect them to not be good. And it was kind of like we always discussed it in the opens, not ever having fished an Elite Series tournament, but like, is it harder? Is it not as hard? Like, because the field is only 100 boats versus 225 or 250 or whatever we had in the opens. So going into it, we didn't really know what to expect, and like just the fact that I think it's one of the only, or it is the only tournament trail in the world where more oftentimes than not, like the weights go up on the second day and the third day and the fourth day of the tournament. Like the guys on average catch them better. Like they're the best in the world for a reason. They know what they did quite maybe not quite as good on day one, and they go out there and fix it and adjust on day two. And like sometimes the cut will even go up 2 or 3 pounds. And like at Smith, I mean, that place was not that great, and the weights were not that good. And day two, it was like everyone caught 13 pounds. It was unbelievable. I was lucky to make the top 50. I snuck in there at 49th, and I caught 11 pounds pretty early and never could coal. I lost one really big one, which was a heartbreaker. But besides that, like I was like, well, I got 11 again. I'm in, and I was like literally barely in. So just the talent level that we're competing against. If you have one bad day, I mean, it's not like I'm going to fall a few places. It's like I'm falling 30, 40 spots. So you got to be on your A game against these guys.
So do you think that's more of guys are learning how to adjust better than before, or do you think it's just what would you attribute that to with more than ever the weight's going up after day two?
I think
so
the adjustments.
Opposite.
I think everyone's really good at adjusting.
Do you think that's from anglers just becoming better, or do you think enough guys are now like these groups, these cliques are talking more after the first day?
That probably has a lot to do with it. I haven't really thought about that, but that probably does play a lot, because I know that's what we do. Like whoever did the best of the house, it's like, what did you do? Or like they're asking me, or like we're asking John or Rob or Cody, and it's usually me asking them. So how do I catch them better tomorrow? But it's been helpful to work with those guys. I mean, I love all three of them, and we've got a good dynamic. And I think a lot of the other guys do too, have their little groups and probably do the same thing. And so they probably, I mean, we're all at the point where it's like you can tell someone something and like it doesn't take much to key someone in. Like it's like everyone on the Elite Series is good enough. Like you can give them a little tidbit of information and they can take that and run with it. And if it's some really good intel, like what kind of structure they're sitting on, or maybe a bait change or something to help get them to bite, then next thing you know, guys catching 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 pounds or 7 pounds more than they caught the day before.
Yeah. And we had John Garrett on probably maybe a month or so ago, Andy, something around there. But we had him on. We were talking about your YouTube series, and seeing the dynamic of you guys together. It's funny watching Cody and John as like the dad for you guys, trying to keep you and Rob in line. But it's gotta be pretty cool though. Like just the dynamic of you guys all coming up as the same class, but also, being relatively the same age as well. It's got to make for one a good time for you guys off the water, but it definitely seems like you guys work really well together in regards to being in the same house, being competitors, but assisting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, dude, it's been awesome to get to know Rob a little better this year. I fished against him in college all the time, but like we talk some, but not like a whole lot. And then same with Cody, competed against him in college a good bit, but never really hung out with him much. And then I roomed with John last year in the Open, so we kind of developed a pretty good friendship doing that. And then to be able to be with these guys that we all fish together in college, know each other, and really build that camaraderie this year has been a lot of fun. And Rob keeps us laughing, and John does too. Really, Cody's kind of Mr. Reserved, but when he does say something, it's usually really funny. And to be able to capture it all on YouTube has been great. It got the camera guy this year, Jack Leventree. Shout out to Jack. He's really killed it this year. He actually came and filmed. We're going to talk about in a little bit the tournament. He came and filmed. It's kind of crazy how this all happened, but Larry Melton, you know him?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he works with Pure Abu in Berkeley, and so he came down to our tournament last year that we put on and shot some photos and did some stuff for Abu because they are the presenting sponsor of the tournament last year, and they are again this year. And he got Jack to help with the video side because he lived in the same apartment complex in Birmingham. So Larry brings Jack down. Jack films like some hype reels and stuff for Abu of the tournament, and then I'm looking at what I want to do, and I ended up getting enough help that I was able to kind of say like I want to invest a percentage of this into my social media growth and hire a YouTube guy and get this thing going, because I kind of did last year, but it didn't, kind of fizzled out. So went all in, hit up Jack. Wasn't sure if he'd be good at it or if he'd even want to do it, because he'd only shot literally he filmed rap YouTube videos, like rap music videos on YouTube, and with some local Birmingham rappers, and he just did a bunch of different stuff. And so I was like, well, let's try it. And he was all in on it. So he actually lives in Birmingham, which is only 2 hours, hour and a half from Auburn. So he's able to drive to Auburn, jump in the truck with me, and then we're driving to the tournaments, and he's filming everything behind the scenes. And that's kind of what I told him was, we want to focus on telling the story of what the journey's like, and maybe a little bit of fishing, mixing in the fishing some, but just really capturing the moments of us hanging out and talking and BSing around the house. And he's done a great job just to see the progression from the first video to now. The first video we had to make some changes, and now he sends me the video. I watch it once. I'm like, that's perfect. We don't even have to change anything. And we're pumping out content. So it's been good.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been doing a knockout job, man. It's been awesome to see. And I love that he can make Rob look badass in some of the real stuff that he's made. I'm assuming that's him because it looks like the same style.
Yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious.
While we're on this topic of hilarious, how about the stickers you guys put on Rob's boat? Did you see that, Bailey?
So funny.
I don't know if I saw that one.
Oh gosh. Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
100% that.
Yeah. My favorite one that didn't get enough, no one else thought it was funny really at the house, but I thought it was hilarious. It was classy, but I cuss a little.
Classy, but I cuss a little.
And some girly pink cursive writing. So funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was you and John, right? That was decaling his boat up for him.
Yeah.
His truck.
Yeah, we stuck them on there while they were gone eating dinner for his mom's birthday. I was like, we need to do it after they get back when it gets dark, so he'll get to the boat ramp and not notice. Because if they come back and it's daylight, they're gonna see him. They're like, no, let's do it now while he's gone. He won't notice. And so apparently he had no idea. And then his mom walked up to the edge of the boat when he was rigging up after they got back from dinner, was like, what's this sticker on your windshield? They slowly discovered all the rest of them. But it was a good time. I mean, we're always doing stuff like that. So it's fun. And if you haven't seen it, go to the YouTube, give it a watch. It's a lot of fun.
Which tournament was the stickers part from?
It was the most recent video we posted on Smith Lake. It was tournament days 1 and 2 on Smith Lake.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen Smith.
Yeah. I titled it the forward facing sonar beatdown so I could get some more clicks. It worked too.
That'll get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I just saw the reel. I think it was on John Garrett's Instagram.
Yeah, I put the reel of the stickers on Instagram, and we all collabed on it. So
I didn't see that. I'm
surprised you haven't seen that.
No, I haven't seen that at all.
Yeah, I think I came across it either this morning or late last night, and I just started laughing. I was like, "This is fantastic."
Yeah,
that's pretty good. So is Rob's the lone bachelor of the house, isn't he?
He is.
You guys are all tied up.
we're about to all. I mean, they're both have kids, Cody and John, and I'm getting married in December, so it's gonna be Mr. Bachelor. He's gonna have to find him one.
Yeah.
He's asleep right now.
We'll save the jokes for after the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Good for him though. He'll be all right. So with that, just to kind of keep the train rolling, what's been the biggest positive this past season? And then obviously I know you wanted to mention them earlier, but also the biggest negative from this season.
Biggest positive has just been growing my brand. I feel like I've done a fairly decent job of just kind of like getting my name out there, and I mean I feel like I've competed well. I'm pretty happy with how it's been so far. Like, you know, I'm 29th in points. Can't really complain about that. And getting the YouTube started has been awesome. I really enjoyed, you know, making the videos and working with Jack on the videos and just watching them again and laughing my ass off because they're hilarious, and really getting to tell our story to the world. I know that we don't get the most views ever, but you know, my growth on YouTube has been fairly decent. I'm up to 3,000, I think 3.15 subscribers now. So we're slowly getting to that 500,000 mark like Milken has, but it's been good, man. I mean, just like running into people that are like, "Hey, we watched you on YouTube." Like, I really like I don't know if they're lying or not, but someone in the gas station on the way over here in New York was like, "Hey, I watch you on YouTube," and I was like, "Really?" And they were like, "Yeah, dude, your Smith Lake video was awesome."
It was
I was
Andy.
like, "Dang, that's
It
cool."
definitely was me.
So
I'm in Cortland right now. Little do you know.
yeah, it's been awesome. That's probably my favorite thing. Positive is just, you know, everything's just going good. I mean, I have some awesome sponsors I get to work with. I'm really enjoying competing on the Elite Series. It's a dream come true. I'm about to get married to my favorite person ever, and life is good.
Be careful. Rob's in the same house, isn't he? Get upset.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Heck yeah. So I guess with that too, kind of taking that in stride is my last one about the rookie season, and then we'll get into your news here. But what's been the biggest learning lesson this year for you?
Trusting people.
Made some mistakes or learning that you can trust people? What are we?
Made some mistakes.
Gotcha.
Pretty cutthroat. I mean, you think you're telling somebody something, and then next thing you know, it doesn't work out so good for you. So just being careful about who you're talking to and, you know, what you're saying, because there's some snakes in the grass for sure. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But definitely not like running your mouth about how you're catching them or what you're doing or anything in particular that's working good for you. That's why I've been, you know, that it was the beginning of the season. I'm excited, you know, like all these guys, they're awesome. I looked up to them my whole life, and just talking to those guys, like at the beginning of the first tournament, like actually getting a chance to talk to some of those guys that you never talked to before, and you're wanting to be like, you know, impressing them, I guess, or not necessarily impressing them, but like halfway sound like you know what you're talking about. And then next thing you know, it's like, like, so been trying to keep it within the house with as far as fishing goes from then on.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, people tease guys like Cooper Gallant that says, "Oh, brutal practice, super tough, doesn't really spill too much." At least from a fan perspective, it doesn't seem like people seem to tease him about that. But maybe there's a reason behind why it's always the same answer, why practice sucked, and you're not spilling too much. Maybe because of that. Maybe because of that.
For sure. I mean, there's a lot of good guys. Don't get me wrong, but there's a few bad apples, and it's you gotta steer clear of them.
Hey, Rob's got to make his checks sometimes. You know, he's got to make his checks somehow too, right?
I think that's the way to go, though. Really, is get, you know, trust is everything. So you got to have, you know, I have a few guys that like Cooper, that I talk to every now and then at the tournaments. I'll call him or he'll call me, and it's usually that's how it goes. Man, I'm not catching anything, and then catch them. But like we'll share a little bit every now and then, but not just opening up to someone that you don't know that well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a good lesson, I guess, for a lot of anglers too, just because you're friendly with some boys, other anglers as well. Like even on a local scene, Andy and I have seen it too. You let one thing spill just because somebody's being friendly, and it'll turn around and bite you.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like the way the sport works, I mean, it's a solo sport. Like you're competing versus everybody else. There's no teams really. There's no group sponsor deals really. I mean, it's like you're trying to make your money and work with your sponsors and do the best that you can. And because of that, I think it's pretty dang cutthroat at the top level. So you got to be careful, whether even it's a sponsor or someone in the industry that you're talking to, or an elite guy, or an MLF guy, or just any fisherman. Just gotta use your brain.
Yeah, dude, I've heard some stories that are like that throughout the industry, where it's like two guys might have the same sponsors, and the one sponsor calls, asks how practice going, checking in. The guy tells them something, and then the other guy talks with that sponsor and goes, "Oh, I heard so and so was doing this or whatever," and then you're like,
That's brutal.
"Huh." Yeah, well, I don't think it's like it's ill intent. I think it's just
yeah. I mean, I haven't had that happen, but like that, I could see how that could happen. Or like, or telling somebody something that you're competing with, and then them also telling somebody else that you didn't want to be told. Stuff like that. So you got to kind of know. You got to just have like you have to say that with your guys, like like what we share like stays within us, and let's just keep it that way, and then problem solved.
Keep it within your circle.
Yeah, but like if you're an incoming guy, that's would be my number one piece of advice is like just be careful about what you say and who you say it to.
Yeah, I'm with that, man.
Good advice.
Yeah. Well, with that, let's switch gears, dude. Let's talk about the big news coming for you and your foundation and what people can be looking forward to, man.
Yeah, so we announced registration 5 days ago for the 2024 Logan Parks Fishing Foundation Insane Tournament. So last year it was called the High School College Chaos Tournament. That last year was chaos because we didn't really know what we're doing. Somehow we pulled it off. This year is going to be insane because we're doubling the field size. We're taking 150 teams, and it's already halfway full, which is pretty crazy. In 5 days, we've had I think we have 157 anglers registered at the moment. Out of the 300, and it's going to be awesome. We put on a great event last year, paid out $15,000 to first place, and gave out over, I think the payout was over $30-something thousand in total, and over $175,000 in total scholarships and prizes as well. So it was a really good event. Had 84 teams fish with us last year, and it's 84 teams, but it's 84 high school kids and 84 college kids that fish together as a two-person team. So it was 168 anglers. So this year we're hoping to get 150 teams. So 150 high school, 150 college. And we're already at almost 100 high school. So it's almost 2/3 full for the high school side. I think the college side, we've got around 64 college guys registered. So that one's getting up there too.
That was a random pairing.
Yeah, so if you want to pull that document up that I've prepared for you guys, I can kind of explain it, how it works. So we have, obviously, this is our timeline for the event. We have the 3-day practice period. Then we actually have a draft. That's how we pair the anglers up, is actually through a draft. Honestly, you can just keep scrolling if you want to.
Okay.
So,
can I quickly call out? Are you partnered with Buc-ee's on this?
The local one in Auburn, yes.
That's
So-
pretty cool.
Nice.
So I think I still have NCAA eligibility, and Andy, I don't think ever got his GED. So I think we might actually have a high school college parity.
I mean, if you guys want to jump in it, as long as you're a full-time student, that's good. But,
Yeah, Bailey, just shave that facial hair and you'll pass as a 17-year-old. So we're good.
Touche.
It's gonna be like the reverse of the Little Rascals in the coat.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll give you $20, Logan, and say I am 12.
You just
That's
have to
funny.
put the Y backwards in your first name and like the G backwards, and you'll be
There you go.
in the
Yeah.
last name. Yeah.
It's like what is it? Someone commented on the announcement of. So, I guess I probably should have said this sooner, and now you guys are really gonna want to fish. But Nitro has stepped up this year as our title sponsor, and we're giving away my rookie season bass boat at this tournament to a contestant of the tournament. They don't have to win the tournament. We're gonna draw someone random at the trophy presentation at the end of the event, and they're going to get to take my boat home. So, and it's going to be fully rigged, so it's going to be awesome. But someone commented on that post. It was the fish lung, and they posted the meme. I think it's from the Benchwarmers. It's like that big dude, and he's like, "I am 8" or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, that's to see where it's from. He hands him $20 and he says, "I am 12" to the
Yeah.
Like,
But,
just bribe him off right now, real fast. We got to plan this, Bailey. We got it.
We have eligibility, Andy.
Yes.
So if you want to be eligible, for anyone that's watching, we're taking 8th through 12th grade from high school, starting in 8th grade this fall, and then college anglers, anyone that's a full-time student. You don't have to be on a fishing team in high school or college, just full-time student. And then scroll back up to the practice, and we can start there. Our format is super unique. It's catch, wave, photo, fishing chaos app, submission, and release. Every fish counts. So we'll have 3 days of official practice. Last year we had over 1,000 fish submitted in practice, and practice is important for the pairings because the high school guys are fishing. It's basically like a mini tournament each day of practice, and every fish counts, as many as you can catch. The high school guys, this is their opportunity to fish hard and submit as many fish as they can to where they can get ranked like number 1 or whatever for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And the college guys are able to see this leaderboard and see who's been catching them to think about who they might want to pick in the draft. So we'll create a ranking system based on each high school kid's best day of practice, and it'll be 1 through 150, showing who had the best days of practice, who maybe didn't even practice or whatever, and the college anglers will use that sheet to determine who they may want to pick or not.
That's cool.
So if you can go to the next one. And the event is really all about the mentorship aspect as well as the recruiting aspect. Really want to make this thing like the event for high school and college recruiting. I want to have eventually have the potential to have like a signing day, like kind of like we have in college football where all these guys make their decision the same day and kind of decide where they're going to go, and just Twitter's blowing up with football players sign this and that. Like, be cool to have that at our event, and we're probably not there yet, but I think eventually we will. Last year we had 19 colleges participate. This year we already have 20 registered. We only have 64 college guys registered, but we already have 20 college programs that will be there. So the goal is to get to 30 for this year. That was kind of my goal that I set. But after the official practice day on Friday, they have to be off the water by noon. They're coming to Auburn University's campus. So the tournament's on Lake Martin, October 4th, 5th, and 6th. The last practice day is the 4th, that Friday. Fish till noon. Come to Auburn. It's about 30 minutes from Lake Martin. We're actually having this event inside Jordan Hare Football Stadium. So that's pretty cool. And we'll go inside the stadium, and inside the actual Auburn football locker room, all these college teams will have tables and booths set up for a recruiting session where high school anglers and their parents can walk through and meet with the coaches, the presidents of the team, all the different anglers of the team. And this will also provide them an opportunity to talk to the high school kids to kind of get an idea of putting a face with a name of who they may want to draft. So I think that'll be a good,
awesome.
a good thing. Last year we did the locker room thing after the draft, so I'm putting it before so that they can kind of at least get a chance to talk to the high school guys. And one really cool thing was from our event last year, and we had 2 high school anglers sign scholarship deals with schools that they told me they never would have considered or didn't even know about until they showed up for the tournament. So that was pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah, dude. That's
It's like
incredible.
the insane NIL deals for college fishing.
Yeah.
That's pretty
So
sweet,
after
dude.
that, locker room recruiting hour is over. It's 2 hours. We'll have the insane draft. That'll also be just around the corner from the locker room in the Tiger Walk Club inside Jordan Harris Football Stadium. And this is when they'll pick, who they want to fish with. We'll pair the teams, and it's going to be cool. I mean, there's going to be 4 rounds. And the college anglers, how they get to choose, how we choose what order they pick in. The college anglers that came and practiced for 3 days and submitted fish in their practice periods will pick first, just in a random order. Then the guys that practice 2 days pick, and then 1 day, and then no days. So that's how that works.
So does the last pick get like some sort of Tom Brady coin?
He should get something because
I think it'd actually be the Brock Purdy coin, Mr. Irrelevant.
It wasn't as big of a deal last year because we actually made the college. We didn't really know how this was going to work, right? Like how long it might take and, or whatever. So the college guys, we made them come first and check in and do the draft. As the high school kids started arriving, we were kind of finishing up the draft. So it's more so like, oh, here's your partner kind of thing, not like, oh, dang, I haven't been picked yet kind of. So now this year with them having the recruiting first, it's going to be interesting seeing the high school kids. Like, no one's going to want to get picked last, obviously. So better catch them in practice is all I gotta say.
Yeah.
But
I like how you put you have 45 seconds to decide. That'll speed things up.
dude, because if we let them sit there and think about it, I mean, you think about 150 college anglers. If you give each one of them a minute, I mean, that's a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so we don't want to be sitting there for 3 hours. So have to figure that out. But our biggest feedback from last year's event was we want a time to practice with our partner. So how it worked last year, we had our 3 days of practice. Saturday we had an off day, and that's when we had the draft, the meeting, the dinner, all that good stuff. And Sunday they just fished together. So this time we're actually giving them an opportunity to have that draft Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and then Saturday we're going to have a practice tournament where all the teams will actually go out on Lake Martin and fish a mini, half day tournament just like the following day. There's going to be some special prizes awarded for the winning team of this practice period, but it'll be just an opportunity for them to game plan and get to know each other.
That's pretty smart. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything to come from this, like for the tournament day, like boat draw or anything like that for this, or is it just simply a practice session for?
There will be a special prize announced at the that dinner that evening that may or may not have to do with something that happens the following day in the tournament.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I'll
stay
sneak
tuned for that.
Yeah, I like it.
But that afternoon, they have to be off the water by noon. We're gonna have the dinner. I honestly don't. I thought the name sounded cool, but every time I have to say it, I feel like an idiot. I think it's Gala, Champions Gala. But is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it'll be nice dinner. We're gonna have trying to secure another pretty sweet facility from Auburn Athletics. So still waiting to hear back before I officially announce the location of that. But everyone's welcome. We're gonna have some awesome giveaways. Still working with some sponsors about what they want to give, and it's going to be really nice though. I mean, last year we gave away a bunch of nice Humminbird, Minn Kota stuff. Had some awesome prizes from some other sponsors. Under Armour sent us 300 shirts that we got screen printed on, the logo on, and I still see guys wearing those, so that's pretty cool.
Heck yeah, man. That's pretty sweet. I think you should do the Champions Gala at Buc-ee's.
Yeah, at Buc-ee's.
At Buc-ee's. Yeah, I mean it's big enough. Shoot.
So how the Buc-ee's thing works is, I guess that would be kind of in between this bracket and the dinner, but our tournament is different than a lot of the other tournaments, right? So instead of having a blast off at a certain ramp, anglers are allowed to put in wherever they want. They can put in whenever they want in the morning, as long as they come through our boat safety check before they go to the lake. So we're having this boat safety check at Buc-ee's in Auburn. We had it there last year and it worked great. We had the whole parking lot kind of sectioned off, and there was 8 stations where boats could pull through, and we checked their live wells, their life jackets, their kill switch, and make sure their nav lights worked. And that's where their high school partner, and their parents dropped them off, and they jumped in the boat together. And then we gave them their official tournament scale that morning at Buc-ee's. And then they filled up, got some food, and went to the lake. And so we said that, you can put in wherever you want as long as it's an official, boat ramp at the official tournament waters on Lake Martin. And you can leave the boat ramp at 6 a.m., but you cannot start fishing until 6:30. And because of the Catchway photo release, we have the timestamps of all of these pictures. So it's like kind of foolproof on the fact that they can't just go out there and, go ahead and start catching them. And we got a pretty intense polygraph guy. So I wouldn't be messing around. But yeah, then that's when the tournament starts. Starts at 6:30. It's a pretty complicated format, so that's why I wanted to have this bracket to talk about. I tried to make my own hand-drawn bracket on Slick's TikTok live the other night. It was an absolute disaster. So I made this nice, easy to view bracket here.
Let me try to blow this sucker up while you explain. There we go.
That's good. So round 1 starts at 6:30 and it runs to 9:40. So roughly, 3 hours there, where all 150 teams are in the same group together. There's one leaderboard. It's live. You can see in real time what everyone has as the fish submissions are coming in and getting accepted. So everyone can follow along, whether it's the anglers on the water or their parents or just anyone that's curious about what the tournament's doing. The live leaderboard will be on Fishing Chaos, and round 1 ends at 9:40. So we have a 20-minute break where anglers are not fishing, and that's when we're kind of figuring out where each team goes. So our top 75 teams from round 1 advance to the survival round, and our bottom 75 teams from round 1 fall into the sudden death round. So it's essentially 2 separate tournaments at this point during round 2 from 10 a.m. till 12:40. The survival group is fishing against each other, and the sudden death group is fishing against each other, but they're not fishing against the 2 other, like the 2 groups are completely separate events. So round 2 runs for another, 2 hours and 40 minutes. And when that round ends, we have another 20-minute break. And you want to be in the survival because that's your best chance to make the championship, and that's where the big bucks are. We're taking the top 20 out of the survival into the championship, and we're only taking the top 5 out of sudden death into the championship. So 25 teams will advance to the championship round. It's $25,000 for first place, and we're paying the top 15. But hope is not all gone if you don't catch them. If you're in the survival group and you don't advance to the championship, you still get to advance to the consolation group, which is essentially during round 3, we have 3 separate tournaments going on. We have the consolation, championship, and last chance. So the bottom guys in survival have a 55 boat shootout for $4,000 for first place still. So really still have a good chance to make some money. And the guys that really struggled in sudden death, they still have a chance to win $3,000 during round 3. And anyone has a chance regardless of how their first 2 periods went, because at round 3 we completely zero the weights out and the live leaderboard is disabled. So that's kind of where our event gets insane per se, because you have an idea of who's been catching them and how they've been doing, but then zeroing the weights out, like, do they still have enough fish left? Are they going to still catch them like they have the first 2 rounds? Have the conditions changed? And anyone having a chance makes it super interesting and keeps the anglers really engaged all day long. That was the same format we did last year, and it worked out really well and got lots of compliments from all the competitors last year on how much fun it was and how exciting the actual format was throughout the day. All the parents too were freaking out when we hit the leaderboard during round 3, like, "Where's my son? How's he doing?" And I'm like, "I can't tell you. You're gonna have to show up to the trophy presentation to figure out how he did." So they fished till 3 p.m. Then the tournament is over. They head back to the boat ramp, come back to Auburn for the trophy presentation, and we actually had, I think, every single person show up for that last year to, I guess, a weigh-in per se without any fish. So because no one had a clue who won, so it was really cool.
That's pretty awesome. I think you have solved Major League Fishing's problem. Get people to show them to weigh-ins.
Yeah, all they have to do is have a hidden leaderboard and maybe zero the weights. I don't know, or just hide the leaderboard at like 11. I don't know why they don't do that, honestly.
Yeah, well, you've been saying that, Andy, for how long? I mean, that's what the kayak side does for anticipation and people seem to enjoy that part.
Yeah. Even the NPFL does that. They had the Bass Track version or whatever they call it. Like, I was trying to follow along with my buddy at Pickwick that was fishing recently, and I tried to check it after, like, I think within 3 or 4 hours of the weigh-in, they hide it. And so I was trying to check in and see how he did. And I couldn't find it anywhere, and I was asking him afterwards. He's like, "Yeah, they hide it." I was like, "Oh, I mean, honestly, that's a good idea."
Yeah, I like it. I mean, especially for those events where, when you look at the leaderboard, someone's leading by 4 pounds.
Yeah.
It adds a little bit more anticipation for people to try to tune in and that sort of thing. I like that. I like that a lot. I like this format. It's gonna be pretty dang cool, man. This is one day, like throughout the day. This whole event is.
Yeah, it's all, that whole thing happens in, like 7.5, 8 hours or however long it is, 6:30 till 3. So it's pretty action packed, fast paced. I mean, the anglers that fished last year were just like, it's like we couldn't take our photos and submit our fish fast enough. Like, we were trying to be like more efficient and just catch as many fish as we could, and really giving people that opportunity at the end of the day to have a zeroed out, clean slate, especially for the guys that have had a rough tournament, is nice. That anyone has a 2-hour window to win up to $3,000. I mean, that's in these 5 fish tournaments, and I'm sure it's can be similar in the kayak tournaments. I mean, you can get so far behind far into your tournament day. I mean, it's not impossible to turn things around, but you start to hear the voices a little bit. And with this format, it kind of keeps people in it all day long.
I love it, dude. So, Andy, you're going to look into that college eligibility, my friend?
Oh, man, I got $100 bill. All right.
That's pretty cool, man. Has Easton and Dumpke and all them boys signed up for this yet? Or they've run out of their...
Actually, I don't know if is Easton going to fish again this next year?
I don't know. I was talking with Nick Dumpke, who was his tournament partner, obviously, and I saw him at ICAST because he's one of the head honchos at Wired to Fish now. And I was asking him, I was trying to pry out the information. He goes, he doesn't even know, but he's assuming that if Easton makes the elites, I think he's
probably not gonna go back to school. I probably wouldn't either if I made the elite series, but if he does, he's welcome to fish. I mean, I know he's won a lot of money, but he could always use another $25,000. So I'd love to have him. I know that a lot of high school anglers would really be excited at the opportunity to fish with him. I almost got him signed up last year, and I had to overcome like this huge obstacle last year of getting the Montevallo team on board because it was like the Auburn Alabama football rivalry, but it was like Auburn Montevallo like hate. Like, like we wanted to beat them in college fishing and they wanted to beat us so bad. And, we talked some smack in college. And so trying to overcome that, this isn't like it is in Auburn and it is in the football stadium, but that's like the badass aspect, like it has nothing to do with it's not an Auburn tournament, it's my foundation's tournament. And I want to create opportunities for all college anglers. It's not just for Auburn. Like it's not always probably going to be in Auburn. We're probably going to move around to different places and bring the format to different areas in the country. And so getting the Montevallo guys to sign up was a huge hurdle last year, but after they all fished it and had so much fun fishing it, now I've already got like 18 of them signed up this year. So they're bringing the whole purple squad this year, and I'd be happy to have Nick and Easton if they want to come fish with us, but they're not signed up at the moment.
Oh, I'll send a very hateful text to Nick right now. Tell him to get his ass signed up.
Yeah.
But because I mean, aside from that, I feel like guys like that are a great role model for the high school guys, showing the right way to do things. Obviously, Easton showing the path to the pro side, and you got Nick to show the industry side. Not saying that Nick, I mean, I don't know if his intention is to go on the pro side, but the dude is a freaking grinder, and he's already getting a great reputation in the fishing industry from his work he's done at Wired to Fish. So that's something that these kids could really learn a lot from. So that'd be a great addition. So I'll give him a ring tomorrow. Tell him to get his freaking butt signed up, or at least see if he can get involved.
Tell him to. I don't know him that well. I didn't even know he was at Wired to Fish, but that's pretty cool to hear. It's cool to see a lot of the guys that we competed against in college go on, and a lot of them do end up working in the industry, and you get to hang out with them all at ICAST still, and it's really cool to see the paths that the different college fishing can lead to. And that was the other thing about the event. Obviously the money is great, and giving the boat away is an awesome opportunity for an angler, but just the opportunity for these high school kids to be around these college kids and the college kids to give back has been really, really what the foundation was started on, was giving back to the anglers, and then the college guys have the opportunity to give back to the high school guys. Had a lot of cool stories come out of it last year. Like last year, I gave away a leadership award that kind of just came out of nowhere. I didn't expect or plan to do that, and I got a text message from one of the dads of the kids on the high school side that was like, "Man, I don't know if you plan on doing anything for an outstanding angler award or something, but we had a college angler come up to us, out of his way at the boat ramp one morning of practice at Lake Martin. And his name was Hunter Jenkins from Dallas Baptist University. And he talked to my son for, 30, 45 minutes and helped to explain to him, how, some different techniques and things like that. And then offered to take him out on the water, and ended up taking him out and letting him practice with him, and showed him how to learn his electronics a little bit better, and taught him a lot, and just things like that. It's awesome to hear, and that's what the foundation is all about. And I hope we can continue to build upon things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for your foundation, is this something you see branching outside of just the tournament aspect, or you think that's going to be the focal point of going forward? Oh, that's a little early.
That's pretty good.
There you go. Yeah, I see who's joining next. But yeah, so is that something you guys are going to be focused on moving forward, or are you going to branch outside of just the tournament aspect?
Yeah, I plan to completely expand and do a lot of things, besides just the tournament. So Insane stands for National Student Angler Networking Events, plural. So this
Okay.
is just a portion of Insane and what we plan to do. Um, and I think we're going to try and grow this thing. We've got some big plans for it. So I don't really want to say a whole lot on like, get over my head because it's a lot of work and just having one event. But may do some virtual things next year. We have a lot of potential with Fishing Chaos and what their platform can do, not just limited to having tournaments, and especially not having in-person tournaments like online events or something we've looked into that we'll probably do next year. But I want to do as much as I can because um, I feel like the organizations say that and they are college Bassmaster does a great job at getting our names out there and giving us publicity, and so does the Major League Fishing stuff, but it doesn't really help prepare you that well to fish the opens. It's not like a here's how to get sponsors. Here's how to, not say something dumb and lose sponsors. Here's, how to do this and do that. It's more so just fishing tournaments and learning how to fish across the country, which is extremely valuable. But we all know that fishing is a lot more than just fishing now. I mean, it's
Mhm.
social media, it's networking, it's public speaking, it's so much. And while those programs that do exist are great platforms for these student anglers, it's not a direct path to the Elite Series. So we're kind of trying to step in and help anglers make that final step to prepare themselves. Maybe they, win the tournament and now they have the opportunity to go to college because the college valued, what their experience was and offered them a scholarship. Or maybe they can help pay off their student loans or pay some opens entry fees if they win the tournament if they're a college angler. Um, so that's really what we're about is creating opportunities and helping those anglers be successful, whether it's in the industry, in fishing, or just in life.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Well, if there's any way the Serious Angler crew can be of assistance in these endeavors, just obviously you always got a seat here, and you just let us know, and we'll do our damnness to be there, at least help spreading the word. But it's pretty dang
I
cool what you're
appreciate
doing,
it,
man.
man.
Seriously,
Thank
is
you.
it's helping grow the sport and at least you know increase the anglers on from a tournament side of we always talk about the people that uh from a tournament aspect that they just don't know any better when it comes to the ins and outs of tournament competition or how to maneuver the industry. Well, this is a solution to that. This is a great way to educate them so that they know the ins and outs, the unwritten rules, things like that as they come through the ranks, and especially if they're trying to move on to the next level. So it's this is a great solution in that, dude, and props to you for putting all the work in and putting this thing on.
I appreciate it, man. I mean, I couldn't do it without the support crew around me. Obviously, Nitro stepped up in a huge way this year and came on board to help us do this awesome giveaway. But Abu Garcia, man, they have been an absolute just awesome partner. I've always used Abu Garcia growing up, so trying to get a deal with them was kind of always the goal. And then in college, we had the opportunity to work with them and turn that into more and more of a personal relationship as I uh, went through Auburn and fished the opens and then now. And last year when I brought them this opportunity, they stepped up without any proof of what we could do and signed on board as the presenting sponsor. And I couldn't have done this event last year without them, and it would not have been near as successful as it was. And they immediately signed back on this year, so I can't thank them enough. Obviously, my fiance Caitlin and my parents like really put in some serious work last year and this year to help make it happen. But all the sponsors that help support it as well, Bass Pro Shops, Morris Shea Bridge Company, Lynch Toyota of Auburn, and Mercury have all came on board in a big way to make this thing really special for the anglers. So it's really cool. I mean, I hope we can just continue to grow it and get anglers signed up. So I mean, we're trying to hit that. I'd love to fill up before I even have to go to Champlain. I mean, we have, I guess, 5 or 6 more days before practice starts, and I've been trying to push the tournament and the registration as hard as I can before I go tournament zone and you get that tunnel vision again for 2 weeks straight. So if anybody's watching and knows a high school or college angler, tell them about the event. Tell them to go sign up. If you want more information, you can go to the LoganParksFishingFoundation.com and check that out, or go to my YouTube channel, Logan Parks Fishing, and watch last year's tournament video. Bass Pro came and filmed a documentary on our tournament last year, and it really tells the story of how everything works from the draft to the recruitment to the tournament, the format, the bracket, the weigh-in, all that good stuff. So that's a really helpful video to watch to understand the format of the event. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to hit us up at Logan Parks Fishing Foundation on Instagram, or our email is just loganparksfishingfoundation@gmail.com for any sponsors that might want to be interested in also helping support us.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, that being said too, so with the plugs there for people that are either watching or are on the podcast side that are listening in too, if you just simply click the show notes too, you'll have all the links directly there that we added, so you can go straight to the website or Logan's socials. So you can go check that out. Especially, I know we got some Hammer high school kids here in New York. I'm definitely going to be forwarding this to them afterwards here and trying to get them signed up. But definitely, if you guys got kids involved, and I guess one question for you is, this might come up too, is do they have to be an official high school tournament, like on a tournament fishing team, to sign up for this, or could they be simply interested in competitive fishing in high school and sign up?
Yeah, as long as they love to fish. I mean, I definitely recommend knowing a little bit about tournament fishing. That's kind of, we're wanting to appeal to the really dialed in high school guys. But like I've got guys signed up this year that their high school doesn't have a fishing team, but they fish BFLs and all kinds of stuff, and they're 16, 17 years old, and they're wanting to go fish in college. And that's, I think, a big limiting factor that some of the other bigger tournaments have, all that red tape that we don't have to deal with. I mean, if you're a full-time college angler, or I mean, just a full-time college student or a full-time high school student, you don't have to be on a fishing team. You can come fish with us anyways.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, any parents are out there watching that, I mean, that's a great token right there to try and get involved. Well, dude, that's awesome. Anything else on the tournament that people should know about?
I feel like we really thoroughly covered it. It's been deep dive into the inner workings, but it's a lot. I mean, it really is a lot to discuss and explain. So thanks for putting up with it.
No, dude, it's awesome to hear about and what's going on. And I don't think people can truly understand the amount of work that goes in the background of something like this. Just simply the event production and all the logistics that go into putting something together like that. They only see the outcome. They only see the tables and everything set up, and not the management and the organization of it all, and the logistics and the communication that goes into getting the people involved. Like, I'm sure there was quite a hurdle in itself to get into the football locker room like that. That in itself was probably the hardest part for you, honestly. Like, because I've been involved in college athletics, and at least at Notre Dame, like, I've been in government buildings with less security than the Notre Dame football building. It was like retina scan, like it was like unbelievable. So like getting to there, dude, that's props. That's pretty dang cool.
Yeah, it ended up. What's crazy is, like, the athletics, they're honestly so much easier and cooler to work with than school. Like, I had another venue that I was trying to get access to this year that the school was taking ownership of from athletics, and it's like, I'm just done sending emails. Like, I don't know how many times I need to sign and submit and show proof of insurance before you guys can say, yeah, you can use it. So it's like, but the athletics people, I mean, I work with a girl there, and she's awesome. I like, just call her, hey, can I do this? Yes or no? Like, yeah, sure, or no, don't do that, please. And like, problem solve, and she gets us where we need to go. So they've been an awesome partner as well. Them and Auburn Opelika Tourism, working with them has been great.
Like, yeah. The school just wants to know, like, hey, you won that $500,000 tournament. You're alumni now. Send us some money.
Yeah.
That's all they want.
I'm actually the youngest endowed scholarship donor to Auburn University. Slight flex. So,
hey,
so we have
that's a big flex, dude.
we have a scholarship called the Logan Parks Fishing Scholarship for student anglers on the Auburn University team. I know there's a few D1 schools that have, teams that have the ability to give scholarships, but as far as SEC goes, there's nothing. And so to be able to try and, I mean, it's not like, the Montevallo team or, some of those other schools that have the ability to give all these scholarships and do some serious recruiting. But it helps a little bit, and so I started that, and every year for 26 years, someone will get the Logan Parks Fishing Scholarship on the Auburn team, so that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
That's pretty sick, man. Love to see that, and kudos to you, dude. That's legit.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, before we wrap up, again, for folks, the links, everything is down below. You guys can go check that out. But dude, before we wrap this up and let you go here, what are the top 3 baits for you that you've used throughout your rookie season?
Definitely a jig head minnow. No brainer on that one.
What is that?
I don't know. I heard it had something to do with FFS.
Yeah,
but that's been really good. And a jerk bait for sure. And
you're gonna be using that new Stunna +2. So they have.
I might throw it around a little bit. I got a couple, but it'll probably be more Maxent the next couple weeks. But I want to say a drop shot, but I'm trying to think about one. I mean, it was the only player at one tournament, but at Lake Murray, I got the new Berkeley Magic Swimmers, the new colors that we just released at ICAST, and they're so sick. The Morning Dawn Chrome has like this pink hue to the top of it. Looks like a dying herring. There's one that I was throwing when it got really cloudy and rainy called Olive Bone. And I think I weighed 14 of the 15 that week on the Magic Swimmer, but catching them on that thing is so much fun, dude. Just burning it over the points right under the surface, and it's swimming, and then they just get like blow up on it like a topwater. That and the Kredge. I forgot the Kredge too at Smith. So the Kredge at Murray, at Smith, and I'm just finding, more and more ways to fish that thing. It's a really unique bait that I feel like it's cool. It's great that it won ICAST because it's getting some more hype now. It like kind of had that huge hype when we released it in January, and no one's really talked about it that much. And now it's kind of getting some more popularity. But at Murray, I found it to be one of the most efficient topwater baits in my arsenal as far as like castability, accuracy, and getting bit. Like, I mean, you get it near where they're schooling and reel it across the surface, and it looks just like a little dying bait fish or herring swimming across the surface. It's like that riser bait, I guess, but like you can throw it on big boy gear, and it's a lot bigger. You can cast it on a bait caster a mile, and it's a really cool bait. At Smith, I was actually doing 2 things with it. I had found fish suspended on these dock cables, and the dock cables were where the fish were. They were always on the ones that were the hardest to get to. So I was pitching it up to the edge of the dock and pulling slack off my reel, and it actually slides backwards and shimmies backwards. So I would pitch it up to the edge of the dock, shimmy it back past the fish, and then I would reel it back up over them. And I was actually pulling them up off the cables, and as soon as it got near the surface, they'd hammer it. So that was really, really cool to figure that out. And then the final thing before we go at Smith, I feel like I'm going off on this thing, but at Smith, there was like different groups of fish that I noticed were swimming around, roaming. And the ones that were deep would bite the jig head minnow pretty decently, but there was also like really high ones, like 2 or 3 or 4 cruisers, 5 foot or less under the surface. And I could not get them to bite the minnow because it sank so fast. Even if I put it on a really light jig head, they just wouldn't touch it. So I started throwing the Kredge over the surface, just burning it over them, and I started catching all of them. It was sick.
That's pretty dope, dude. Yeah, that bait's pretty dang unique. Like, it's like to your point, some people compared it to the the riser, but
It does so
I
much
mean, I know
more.
on like Lanier, guys have been reeling that thing almost kind of like a crankbait subsurface and getting wrecked on it too. Like Alex
It
Red
rolls like a spy bait almost, you know, like under the water, it's rolling and it's really cool bait. I mean,
100%.
keep sleeping on it, you know, y'all keep sleeping on it.
Yeah, that's fine. More fun for us.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, dude, seriously, appreciate you taking the time out. You always got a seat on this show anytime you want it. And you have to send me a selfie from the Red Jug Pub when you could take old G to find himself a lady friend.
Yeah, he may not be a bachelor after we go to the Red Jug.
That's right. Hey, it works. That's all I'm saying.
The proof is in the jug.
That's right. That's right. Well, dude, good luck in the northern swing and holler at us if you need anything, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Really enjoyed it. Appreciate it.
Heck yeah. All right, dude. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
See you. Well, there is Mr. Logan Parks. If you're in the college ranks, if you're in the high school ranks, if you're not getting signed up or at least trying your damnness to get involved in this thing, I think you're seriously missing out. Of course, there is travel involved, so that's totally understandable. But definitely try to get your best effort at getting involved in this event because, I mean, you look at other big four sports, right? Football, hockey, baseball, things like that, and basketball, things like that. They have camps that do almost very similar to this, and there's not many events whatsoever in our sport of fishing where you can go and do exactly that. Recruit, talk with people at the higher level, talk with college coaches, talk with the different programs, see the different options that you can do to advance within the sport, and see what the career looks like for you. Where it's hockey, I could speak for. There's a camp left and right that you can go to that does exactly that. Whereas this is giving you some of the best schools and opportunities available. So it's pretty dang cool. Plus, it's providing you an option to go win some dang money, which you can't really do the big four sports at this level anyways. You can't go win some money, but pretty dang cool opportunity. You guys go check it out down below. But Andy, that was some fun. Appreciate Logan as always for coming on, dropping some juice at the end too, talking about that Berkeley Credge. We'll actually drop a link down below to it here in a second if you guys want to check that out. And of course, post show, we'll put it in the show notes if anybody wants to go grab them at Omnia Fishing. You can use code Series 10, save some money on them. Highly encourage you to do so. But I think let's do a quick message from X2 Power, and we'll be back with our boy, Mr. Justin Largent.
In the world of battery power, a word to the wise: compromise elsewhere.
All right, we are back, and Andy has left us. He must have had to book. But buddy, you came and joined us, a little surprise towards the end of the show there with Logan. Oh, I don't have any sound for you. Hold on. I think you muted yourself. You got
My bad.
Yourself. There we go.
That was what I was trying to do before, and apparently I clicked the wrong thing and brought myself in right in the middle of Logan's spiel.
Hey,
the terror. I don't know if it showed through the lens, but like there's just an instant panic on my end.
Hey, we saw it. Yeah.
And it's like, I'm used to doing stuff where it's not live, so if you mess up, you can kind of just go do it again. But whoops.
It's all good. It wouldn't be a serious angler if there wasn't some moments of derailment and shenanigans. And so, dude, it's been a little minute since we got back on Serious Angler. Obviously, being on the fantasy fishing shows, but dude, I feel like it's been a minute since I've actually got to talk with you beyond just talking about the different kayak fishing weekly shows and things that have been going on. But what you been up to, dude? What's been in the life of Justin Largent as of recent?
Shoot, lately it's been lots of work, and then pretty much every minute that I'm not working, I'm fun fishing. I've been playing around more with the smallmouth this year, which I've enjoyed. I did it a lot in college. I didn't have a kayak or anything, didn't have a boat. I would just wade in this I mean, it sounds bad waiting in the tail race below a dam, but it was not a crazy dam, but it was right kind of below the school property, and I'd get down in there and that was I learned so much just having the ability to get on the water a bunch. So it makes me feel younger than I am to get in the kayak and chase those river smallies around,
Well,
get towed around some.
yeah, I could say from doing that all last weekend, I could do it every day for the rest of my life.
So jealous of you guys that were up there last weekend. It
Are
looked
we
like
going
a
to see
blast.
you next weekend for the Kayak Adventure Series?
That's next weekend.
It's next weekend. Quick turnaround.
I don't think next. I think it's Friday. No, I work Friday
Next
and then
Friday and
Saturday. Yeah, Saturday I'm driving to South Carolina for the family vacation. So that was
Oh,
kind of the reason I didn't do the. It was basically I spent a bunch of the vacation time, for the family. So to try to get some time off right before that to go do a tournament too was not. It just wasn't going to work.
yeah. I hear you. I was planning on doing the native event down at the Susky as well. That was in October. And then not even thinking about it. My wife and I planned our little 4-day getaway for our 1-year anniversary and did not think that I scheduled on the same weekend. So
You're gonna
I
get
that one.
Oops.
get yourself in trouble doing that.
Yeah. There was a split second where I'm like, maybe if I ask to switch, I'm like, nope, not gonna say it. We're just not gonna fish it. Yeah,
I
I'm
might
gonna,
make that one. I got to see what weekend.
Happy wife, happy life. You'll remember that. And it comes into more fruition the longer you're married.
I've been living by
Wise
the happy
words.
wife, happy life thing for years before she was even my wife. So we've been there for a while. But I think anybody that's in a serious relationship understands it does not apply just to marriages.
Oh, I know. And a lot of people don't really understand the general logic behind it. But yeah, always,
Yeah.
you need personal time too.
Oh, for sure. It's like this weekend. She's going off with the friends for a boat day. She's staying overnight, and that means bachelor weekend, me going fishing. So it's all good there. But yeah, dude, Justin, that one in October, I've heard always is a riot. A lot of fun for people.
I got to do the one. What was it? I want to say it was around this time of year when they did it, when they were up there in 2023. I want to say it was June, July, August, somewhere in that time frame.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And I like that format because it's, you can not be on them. You don't necessarily have to put a bunch of time in practice. You can basically show up and be having a bad day. And on one cast, in that tournament, you can make a lot of money with that big bass power hour. You never, you're never out of it in that one, which is kind of cool.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it seems like to me, it's kind of similar to the every fish count. Well, obviously it is every fish counts format above a certain limit, but with the different formats from the different hours and then the total big bass, it seems like I was gonna go fishing for fun just because it's a Susky and it's an excuse for me to get down there. But also, just the format though seems so overwhelming. Where I was like, I just want to go catch my 5 big ones for the day and just forget about it. Where it's like when the strategy comes into thinking about what hours to submit your big fish to, that's when I start thinking too much and I get distracted and I make a lot of mistakes. So it was probably going to be a total shit show for me. But either way, I'll be jealous of everybody that gets to go fish that.
I just realized my computer is not plugged in and my battery's about to die. So I'm going to
we'll see you in 30 seconds.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, sounds good. Andy, we got to get you down to the Susky, bro. It is
a
lot of freaking fun, dude.
I have a couple buddies that are guides down on the Susky. And they're always like, just come on down. I'm like, I want to go down in the winter when it's like everything else is frozen and the water's high. And they catch them.
Yeah, but like
stuff.
Your way of catching them there isn't as fun as you're catching them now.
Yeah.
Like dirt shallow, your kayak's grinding against the bottom, and you're catching them on a freaking buzzbait or a topwater.
It does sound fun. Sounds like
like you should have been me and not thrown a giant freaking chopo. You should have just thrown a small buzzbait and hope for the same. Although it
probably
didn't really work.
like
I did try that for people that were mentioning it. I did try it and it didn't work. It was crazy. I had to get like the Chapo. I tried a popper. I tried a buzzbait. The only thing I wish I had that I didn't, because that second day I literally only brought 3 rods. I brought a Chapo, I brought a swim jig, and I brought a buzzbait, and did not bring like a wacky rig or anything like that. Because day one they were eating the Chapo so good that I'm like, I'm literally going to commit to this all day long. I have the buzzbait and the swim jig strictly for grass, and they just simply they were where they're supposed to be. Same as day one. They ate as good as they did day one. They just simply got off a lot better. So that's
Speaking of topwater smallmouth, did you see? I'm freaking forgetting his name at the moment, but he was on the Elite Series at St. Clair in the MLF Invitationals when he was catching some of his fish on. Chris Grow, is that right?
Oh yeah, Chris Grow. Yeah,
he was catching him on a jitterbug.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Like he posted and the jitterbug was just destroyed. Yeah. I'm like, okay. Like maybe
That's
we
legit.
need to go bust out some old time
Yeah.
freaking jitterbugs, man.
Dude, I'm sitting there. Hold on. Let me go grab it. Because I was actually looking at this, debating heavily on bringing this to Susky. I'll be right back.
Now, Andy, was he talking big jitterbug, like the old school, like musky one, or is he throwing a smaller one?
I think he was throwing like the bass size one. Hold on, I'll find this post.
I was very, very close to bringing this to the Susky. Dude, that would have been awesome. But you know the hookup ratio on that thing is probably
terrible.
The greatest.
Yeah. They're little hooks, if I remember right. Is that Pompadour or Junior?
This is not the Junior. This is the Pompadour.
Ooh.
It's actually got decent sized hooks on it.
Check out Andy's picture. That thing is that is chewed up.
And you know he's actually throwing it because it doesn't have the stock hooks on there.
No. And it's Chris Grow. Like that's the stuff you would expect from him,
yeah.
I feel like.
Look at that little bad boy. Would have been.
Yeah.
I'm throwing him this weekend, man. I'm gonna go have some fun with this thing.
You're gonna catch a big one.
Oh, probably. I haven't figured out if I'm gonna go do some largemouth, shallow, some grass offshore, or go float a creek and go catch some summer smallies. Because now I got the Susky bug. So it's like, do I do a 3-week bender? Because I'm gonna do Susky next weekend. So do I do it again this weekend? I don't know. This is my struggle here. But I guess to get back on task here, Justin, one of the things I wanted to ask you is, so you've been doing a lot of fun fishing and taking a break from the tournament side. Has that been more enjoyable for you to take a little break from the tournament side?
In some ways, I miss that competitive bug. Like I said, it was rough not being there this week. And I started, especially I fished a bunch of tournaments this spring. So I've done a handful this year. It wasn't like I haven't fished at all, like quit cold turkey, but I think the last one I did was April. So I'm definitely missing it a little bit, but I'm hoping that it'll be good for me because I've, as many as I did the last couple years, it's like there's a little bit of burnout. You hit sections where even though it's fun and you enjoy it, you go from event to event, spend a few weeks on the road, sleeping in a tent sometimes. It starts to, you wish you were doing something a little more stable sometimes, especially when you're not catching them. If you go have a couple bad tournaments in a row, I've had some really good highs, and I've had some lows where it's just nothing seems to go right. So it's definitely the fire is burning a little bit right now, and that's a good thing for me. Where you do it a bunch and you start to take it for granted, and I definitely miss it. So I think when I do jump back in, I think I'm going to be hungry. Tired of watching other people hoist trophies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Amen. It's interesting because there's some people that their solution to do better in tournaments is to go fish more tournaments, and their solution for some people to get away, just go fun fish, forget about the tournaments. And then then sometimes for me, I was telling some people, and also talking to my camera, me and my Mr. Content Creator self saying that if I could have a solution of every day going to fish the Susky or the Adirondacks every single day for the rest of my life and give up tournament fishing, I would do it in a heartbeat. Just for the simple exploration of it.
Those are special places.
It's very special places, but it also makes you kind of think, like, sometimes is tournament fishing too overhyped? Is it overrated? Is it talked about too much in the grand scheme of things, when really, if you look at it, tournament fishing is this in the grand scheme of all fishing. So that makes you think. I'm not saying that I think it's overrated. It makes you call into question of, do I put too much emphasis on tournament fishing sometimes? Where, like, for me this year, it's been a very heavy tournament year. I'm doing 20 different tournaments, which is the most I've ever done in a season. And there's not many days I've had to go fun fish because I'm either going to practice or I'm practicing for something if I'm going to take it serious. And I don't know, dude. I mean, for you, it's got to be also, like, it's been probably freeing to go out there and go beat up on fish without any time. You got to be off the water. You don't have to worry about no fish. You don't have to go to a place that's got giants in it, because you can just go where you want to go and throw what you want to throw.
Yeah, and I think in a tournament, I've heard guys, Russ talk about experimenting with different stuff and playing with techniques, but I feel like that's Russ. I don't know that and maybe other guys do it too, but I feel like I kind of stick to what I'm good at or what I think is working. The closest thing that I think that's actually going to work that I try to fish my strengths, I guess, as much as I can. But with this, it's like I don't have to worry about, being embarrassed laying a goose egg. I can just go do it however I want. There's no pressure to not fail. So I can experiment with different things, try different stuff. I've picked up a spinning rod a lot. I've played around with finesse stuff that I had not done a lot of, and I think to my detriment in tournaments. So I'm playing around with different finessey stuff, and I'm enjoying it. And I think I'm learning. I'm fishing a lot of stuff that's closer to home, so it's nice to not drive 6 hours to a tournament venue. Just going an hour from the house to a place that's kind of fun, especially if you can do it midweek. Oh my gosh, the difference between like a Tuesday, Wednesday versus a Saturday or a Sunday, when you have the whole, whether it's a lake or river, whatever, when you have it to yourself, it really is fun. Everything else just is kind of gone. Like you're just there in the moment, and it's that's the stuff I really like. One of the aspects of tournament fishing that kind of wears on me is like it's hard to find stuff that you have to yourself, like where you're not launching with other people, at least in the kayak world, where you're launching with other guys. There's other guys kind of fishing in the general area. It's hard to kind of get away, and I think that messes with my head probably more than it should sometimes. That, oh shoot, that guy's here. Oh no, he's here too. Oh boy, he's probably practiced and caught some, and it's just you spin out a little bit. At least I do sometimes.
I mean, that's just fishing, man. It happens to all of us, to be honest.
I mean, for example, last week, there was a bunch of people for Susky that were there on Monday. They're like, dude, the fishing was so great. I don't know why it tanked. I'm like, well, because there's 200 people on the whole river all week long catching the living crap out of these things. Pressure's going to take a toll. So when it comes to the weekend, it's not going to be surefire as it was, say, on a Wednesday. So it's, to your point, the weekend is always a little bit tougher. But yeah, I mean, fishing within your means, I think that's the biggest thing. I think the people because I see a lot of guys, some of my favorite pages nowadays have been some of the guys that aren't really tournament focused. They're more the explorers, the adventurers that try to find things off the beaten path, where it's you kind of get, what is the term? Is the intrinsic? Is that correct? Where it's the intrinsic feeling that you're chasing?
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. There's something I'm drawn to more about that. Maybe because I've been running hot with the tournament bug for the past several months, but I just feel like I think that's something everybody needs, to chase the adventure side. I don't know.
Like the Uncle Larry guys, the homeless fishermen, like that dude stuff is, oh my gosh, like throwing these giant baits on a paddle board and catching big fish. It's cool to see somebody do it that way, and find success too. That's,
The
you
Uncle
don't have
Larry
to do it.
group is the best example of exactly that.
Dude, I think we posted it on KFW, like that was, or we featured it one week like that. I don't know that I've seen a cooler fish catch than that kid screaming as the 10-pounder's dragging him around that lake, jumping. He's freaking out. It's
Greatest video of 2023 by far.
it's not staged. It's like that pure joy. Like there's no
Pure
playing to the
emotion.
camera. Yeah. It's just like, I think that's the thing that really draws all of us to fishing in the first place, is that feeling when you get that bite and set the hook, big head comes out of the water. I think that's kind of like one of the universal things that appeals to everybody, whether you're catching catfish or sunfish or crappie or bass or whatever. That's the drug.
100%. I mean, Andy, you can speak for that. You went walleye fishing this morning.
Yeah, that was fun. Trolling around dipsy divers and worm harnesses. It was something different, but it was enjoyable. I don't think I'll ever do it unless I'm like invited onto someone else's boat. But like, I filled the freezer. Pumped. I got enough
Nice.
walleye to last me like 3 years. So
Oh, you're totally gonna be getting a 522D. You're gonna get the hybrid rig. You're gonna become a
No,
walleye
sir.
guide now.
nah. Like, I
Guys,
might
hit
go
up
out and
Andy
like,
for walleye needs.
I mean, I might go out and do that jig head minnow for them. I kind of would think that would be fun to go like graph and look around and chase them out deep and see if we can catch them that way. But no, I'm not gonna get a deep fee and troll for them. Dude, it's like watching paint dry, right? Like you're like, all right, come on, Rod. Like, oh, I got a bite. And then it's like 15 reel cranks and the fish is in the net. You're like, oh, that was boring. All right, I guess I'll do it again.
The fighting walleye is, I don't know if you've done it, Justin, but it is definitely extremely boring. Like it's a wet
It's
sock.
way better with a spinning rod when they chase something and bite it. But if you're going at like a mile, 1.5 to 1.8 miles an hour, and the rod on the dipsy goes like this, boink, do, and then you reel, and it's just like, okay, I got a wet sock on my rod. Like,
Oh, wow.
and every once in a while, it's like head shake. Oh, he's in the net.
Okay. I've never trolled. I don't know the first thing about catching walleye. I've read, about it in books, and I know they taste great and it's a big thing up north, but Virginia, I guess there's some places where they occur naturally, but we don't have a ton of it. And a lot of it is the state stocking them in places to sustain the populations. I've caught a handful of them in a river chasing smallmouth, and I caught a few in a red eye. And I don't know what it was, an area that I've caught smallies before, and I lucked into a couple of giant walleye, and they fought pretty good in the current.
Yeah, big ones will fight good on traditional tackle, but when you're just dragging them behind the boat like a big drift sock,
Yeah.
Drift sock.
You can't set the hook. You just reel the whole time. No, I mean, I see why people love it. It fills the table. Like, they're delicious, but I mean, give me a bass and a smallmouth that wants to jump, or give me 50-pound braid and a flipping stick and a grass mat. Like, that sounds like way more fun to me. I mean, I would take a pike eating a glide bait over trolling for walleye.
What do you guys think? That's a good question. What do you guys think is the most overhyped fish to catch in freshwater fishing? And what do you think is the most underhyped?
Muskie is the most overhyped, in my opinion.
Oh, you're going to get some hate, man.
I know,
Andy.
because 90% of them hit the bait at the boat, right? Like, they smoke it when you're figure eighting them, and then all you do is lift up and put them in the net. Like, when a muskie eats a jerk bait like 110 feet from the boat, it's exhilarating and it's fun. But most of the time, they're just tracking a giant bait to the boat, and they eat it right at the boat. So muskie is the most overhyped fish for me. They're huge, but they're very overhyped. Underhyped, it might be like big bluegill on an ultralight, like 10 to 14-inch bluegill on an ultralight. Like, those things are mean. If you get a
You've
big,
caught
like,
14-inch bluegill?
No, No, like I'm just saying, like a 10-inch bluegill. Like those things are mean if you get one, or
Yeah, oh yeah.
a 14 to 16-inch crappie. Like those things are mean on ultralight gear and like 2 to 4 pound test. And
Yeah,
then,
bluegill, if they got bigger, I agree, would be a lot of fun.
in an honorable mention, because I've gotten to catch a couple, are carp. Like
God damn it, Andy.
carp are very underappreciated. They're kind of fun.
Stealing my thunder, man.
Sorry.
Andy's
Yeah,
gonna go through the whole list of gauntlet. He's gonna name every species so that we get nothing, Justin.
No,
I
your turn,
hate
I'm
carp.
done.
I just I will say they fight incredible. As maybe like a 12, 13-year-old. I remember there was a little pond near the house that had some carp in it, and we, make little dough balls and put them on the hook, and that was fun. But I would snag them in the river a lot. That section, kind of the water below the tail race, you'd have these sort of slack pockets, and the same places the smallmouth would go, you'd have these gigantic, 5 to say 15-pound carp. And I would throw a jerk bait and I would snag them all the time, like not on purpose, but I'd snag them. And then I'd have, 8-pound test, and they're running in the middle of the river around rocks. And then, then they get way down and they break me off. And I've lost at the time, I think it was like the Lucky Craft was like $15, and or maybe it was even 20. And I just hated them. If I ever got one, I would kill it. I just hated them. And, yeah, I'll probably get some hate for that. Maybe I deserve it, but I'm
with you. I mean, I think
something
right
about
now,
carp.
We look at it like a garbage fish right now. I mean,
Mhm.
but to your point, like when I was growing up, my brother and I, we would bike down, like when I was in middle school up to high school, we'd bike down to the local canal and bring our ice fishing stuff, and we'd go catch carp with ice fishing rods. And we'd run up and down the canal chasing him because you only got a small spool. The ice fishing rod. So we're chasing him. My brother's like jumping in. This is the best. This is back when I really wish I had a GoPro, because, dude, I would have some viral content of me fighting a carp, like a 20-pound carp with an ice fishing rod, and my brother, this 12-year-old idiot, trying to in a foot of water. So these carp have their backs out, and my brother would jump and tackle them to catch him.
Oh my
That's how he
gosh.
would land them. He would have to chase
I think
them.
your brother would recreate that if you asked him to.
Oh, 100% he would. But now he's 6 foot and a gigantic dude. So
Even funnier.
Yeah. He would do it in a heartbeat.
Man bear eats carp with bare hands.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't talk about my brother all that much on the show, but he actually listens to this pretty avidly. So I love him for it. But my brother is the hunting version of me. For anybody that doesn't know, if you don't follow him, you can simply go to my page or look up Josh Into the Wild. But he's a pretty nuts outdoor photographer now. Big elk hunter, whitetail. Big. What I am to fishing, he is to hunting. And so he's pretty wild. He's out there in Utah doing his thing. But got to give a shout out because he's Andy thinks I'm nuts. Just you guys imagine what my brother is. He's worse. He's twice as crazy as I am.
Fine.
That's cool.
It's a nut job.
I had a chance to, when I moved from California back east, I had a chance to kind of do a real long road trip, and I stopped at a bunch of those parks, and I was, getting into photography. So I got a chance to see some massive elk in Yellowstone and a bunch of other wildlife. And that got me. I never quite, I'd read articles about guys that would elk hunt with a bow, and I never quite got it. But like when you actually see them and see the terrain and everything out there, oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun. Like I've never been much
go in
hunter,
cold turkey and elk hunt in the mountains. You can't. You need to actually legitimately train.
Yeah, like there's what's the guy's Cameron
Haynes?
Yeah, like watching that dude and the shots that he practices. Like I know it was over 100 yards with a bow.
Yeah,
like
in between like the mirror of his house and his truck. That's like not even a foot. It's like, bro, that's your truck.
Like also he can make an ethical shot like at a consistently at a shorter distance. Like that was definitely intriguing. I totally got it once I was out there. Like I've heard the elk meat is fantastic. I would love to do that one day, to get good enough with a bow to actually be able to competently do it.
Yeah, I'd love to do as well. That, and I'd love to do like a muley stock, but like that Cam Hanes stuff, you can translate that to fishing. I feel like that example of if you practice super uncomfortable shots, like he'll do like a kneeling shot, a quarter behind him, at 50 yards, where he'll practice that. But like in a fishing sense, you can go, the stuff that you're afraid to throw into, where people have the motto of you got to throw it where they live. Well, if you feel uncomfortable throwing it there, go practice throwing and stuff like that. Where if it's
like
getting
over
fish
a
out of the
dock
bushes,
tie and a steel rope and 6 inches, and you're like, I don't know how the heck I'm going to get them out of here, but we're going to do it anyways.
Yeah, go and practice that situation. Put yourself into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's stuff that you can, even if it's still a shit show to get them out, like you can at least alter your setup and things like that by practicing doing it. Whereas it's just going to end up being the tournament story, where you lost that fish or something like that.
So
But
all you kids that are listening, go find that Karen that yells at you when you get close to a dock and just skip
Start
that jig
whipping
right
away.
into the side of that thing. Ding.
And make sure you find the most cobwebs on that dock with Karen yelling, because it's going to be the hardest spot to get that damn jig, and just let her rip.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, for people listening, that was a little shallow dock fishing tidbit right there. If you see some cobwebs, that means no one's fished that yet.
I've done that on your timber filled lakes too. You're going through and it's just a maze of standing timber. If I see something, that thick cobweb, it's like, I'm gonna make a cast in there because nobody has recently.
You see, Brian Visco says, if you are in need of strings, I'm 38 years in of building custom bow strings. I've done a bunch of elite guys' bows. Brian, I might take you up on that, dude, because I got a Matthews that needs repairing. And
it hasn't been shot in 4 years.
No, it's been shot since not in the past year because it needs new strings. But I literally actually the other day I was talking to my wife. I went and put out a bunch of cameras on public, try to be sneaky, and I realized the other day I haven't checked them in like 2 months because they're not cell cams. So I need to go out in the poison ivy and
pull the SD card.
Pull my SD cards. It's been
wear some pants and some long socks. It ticks.
Yeah, and it's really about time. They're getting velvet now and everything. Like if I'm actually gonna hunt this fall, which I already realized my entire October is pretty much toast, which sucks. But the best week is always the first week in November. So it is what it is. But
it's also the best to catch giant smallmouth.
I know. It's always so torn about that.
Is that when that first cold snap hits for you guys?
It's usually like the second or third week of October. But I have a feeling this year it's going to be early because we're due for an early
usually winter. The first cold front is like the second weekend of September. It's usually the first cold front.
That one's not great. That one's puts them in like a weird funk. And
it makes it suck.
Yeah. But the second, the third, and the fourth, and by the time you're to the fifth one, it's like everyone's got their boats away. All the docks are leaving the lake, and you're like, it's time to jam. And my issue is I start steelhead fishing because then my steelhead calendar gets, and I'm like, might get my boat out 2 more times, and it ends up just sitting there, and I'm like, son of a.
Dude, talk about training. I've seen the videos and the Instagram posts that you've put up for the steelhead. Like that's putting a lot of miles on, like wearing waders and all that gear.
Oh, there's no training. He's eating Twinkies and having Tim Hortons coffee while he's doing that. Okay, don't give this man too much credit.
Listen, I need to keep my caloric sugar intake. Enough energy to get through an 8 to 12 mile hike with my my Orvis bootfoot waders on that weigh like 110 pounds. Okay, like
they're heavy. And he's just popping sugar sticks and Skittles. He's Marshawn Lynch of the streams.
No, honestly, like I don't ever eat while I'm on the stream because I'm just so focused on getting that next bite for clients that by the time I'm done, I'm like, oh, I need to eat. Like I'm drained by the time I get back to the truck. It's terrible.
I'll tell you guys what, something that's been really cool. Actually like committing to legitimate like calorie tracking, like what you're actually eating. It's impressive. Like if you can actually do that and do it well, how much better you feel.
Oh yeah.
It helps kind of like you can see the thing. It actually forces you to go look at the nutrition facts and the stuff that you actually eat.
Oh gosh.
Which is a scary thing to actually look at.
I try not to do that. I label read really hard, like a lot of the ingredients that we eat, and we pretty much, when I'm not out fishing, we eat like insanely clean in the house. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I realized how bad my peanut butter sandwiches are for me that I eat way too many of.
Even just the straight peanut butter on a spoon, I like that. And that,
Oh, same.
oh my gosh. Especially if you get the, what's the one that has the, I think it's like the Peter Pan one, but it's got honey in it. Or
Yeah.
honey
The honey
flavoring.
butter.
And the sugar just goes like, but it's so good.
So
See, you're sitting there. You have I used to do is I'll take 2 apples and I would chop them up in like 6 different pieces of the apple, and I would take a spoon and lather the living crap out of each slice. And eat that, thinking, "Oh, this is a healthy meal: apples and peanut butter." And then you go and look at it, and actually, you're like, "Oh no, that's not that good for you." Actually,
well, I mean, it depends on the peanut butter you're eating too, because a lot of it is loaded with like sugar and etc. So you have to be careful which ones you buy when it comes to sugar content.
Oh yeah,
the best peanut butter that we found.
Yeah,
I'll send you a picture of it. I don't remember exactly the brand, but it is not
we have-
Wegmans. It's not Wegmans organic. It's a different one. It's like an all natural, just straight peanuts.
yeah, like 15
Where you gotta stir
dollars a
it.
pop.
Oil on
Yeah.
the top, no added sugar, and it's
Yep.
great. But a little side healthy, so you don't have to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, Bailey. You can get like rice cakes. Then you
Oh, I
put
have
your
that.
peanut
That's what I
butter
do
on the
now.
rice cakes, and then you put jelly on top. And the kicker is when you get the chocolate covered rice cake, because then you get
Yes.
like some sweetness. Oh yeah.
If you go look
That's
at
like my
my
nighttime snack every day.
If you look at my
Kids
cooler, dude,
don't
I
eat
got a
rice
cooler
cakes.
section for my snacks. It's all literally. I had 2 things of rice cakes. That's all I allowed myself to eat for snacks all last week. But yeah, you lather that in peanut butter. But the only problem is you eat those things and like you take a bite and there's like 47 crumbs of rice cake all over you, and then it's peanut butter, so it sticks. Yeah, it's just not. It's just
It's
messy
a
as all
sticky
get out.
situation.
Dude, it sucks. You know what? That's what sucks about life is that all the good, healthy things taste like crap.
Yeah. Most
The
of
peanut butter that's actually good for you is $15 freaking, so it's expensive
Oh,
to
yeah.
live healthy. And then when you eat it, it's like chewing on peanut butter flavored dried protein powder.
Yeah, pretty much.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I've gotten a bad habit of when I'm at work, like partway through the shifts, I'll have snacks. And it's all junk food that they have at work. So I'm buying, the Snickers and the oatmeal cream pie, and
Oatmeal cream pie.
they're
Yes,
so
speak to
good.
me.
But then I'm like, one of the coworkers was reading
It's like
basically
rocket
the
fuel.
nutrition facts the other
Yeah.
day, and I was like, no, stop, no, I don't want to hear it. No, I
Yeah.
know it's bad.
Out of
Stop,
sight, out
stop
of mind.
reminding me.
Not even the nutritional facts, man. Like, look up some of the ingredients that's in that oatmeal
Yeah.
cream pie. Like, dude, like Pop Tarts has like stuff in it that they put in jet fuel.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Never eating a Pop-Tart again in my entire life.
so bad.
I learned that 2 years ago, and ever since have not touched a Pop-Tart.
Yeah, like red 40, yellow 6, blue dye 1. Like, they're all so bad for you, and it's in like 90% of our food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just been learning to honestly cut out sugar in general, like completely, because that's apparently one of the number 1 drivers of any cancer is sugar.
Yeah, you have to get your sugar from natural sources like peanut sugars that come naturally in peanut butter, like fruits like raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, grapes, etc.
Oranges is the one that I've thought about. It's like I've spent enough time like driving to and from work. I'm like, I should get some of those little nectarines that peel real easy and just bring a bunch of those to work. And then when I'm tempted to go get the yummy candy, eat a couple of those instead. But I haven't quite got to the implementation phase yet.
Yeah, that's always the hardest part is forcing yourself.
Yeah,
that's always
I'll get there.
challenge. Yeah, it's one of the realities I'm learning from life is to be, because like in college, I definitely did not eat great. I ate well for an athlete, but the thing was I was swimming twice a day, 10,000 yards each. So you're burning an unbelievable amount of calories. So it didn't matter what you ate. Like before meets and like on big practices, I would literally eat an entire full large pizza to myself.
Oh yeah,
can't do that nowadays.
You can. It's just
not good for it. It's not good.
Yeah.
I remember those days wrestling in high school, and there was in Lockport where I grew up. There, I can't remember the name of the pizzeria, but they had $5.99 large pizzas, like cheese and pepperoni large pizzas. Yes, as soon as I remember,
was this back in the 80s?
No, like
he wasn't alive.
2007. Like I'd go to my buddies after wrestling practice, and we'd walk down to the city and get $6 large pies, and we would each order a large pie and just down a large pie, right? By ourselves, 8 slices of pizza, and walk home, like 2 hours later, like, man, I'm hungry again.
Yeah.
I'm going to Papa John's after this.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a different time when, I will say though, that river style of, like dragging your kayak up ledges and things like that, and that whole maneuvering definitely is a workout, man. I can see if you're doing that on a consistent basis, that's a great method of getting exercise in.
Oh, yeah.
It's how I justify the candy.
Yeah.
On the off days, I'm dragging the kayak up river.
That's right. So what kind of river are you fishing? Like, is it similar to the Susky in regards to, shallow, a lot of different ledges and breaks and things like that?
The stuff around here, at least the stuff that I spend much time on, is nowhere near the size. It's almost like a lot of the Virginia rivers, if you picture just sort of like cutting the Susky down the middle, maybe even into thirds, it's more that size. Some of them you'll have some good rock ledges, but it's just I've never seen anything like the Susky where you've got that much habitat, and also we've got plenty of crawfish in these rivers, and you'll see fish spitting them up, but I've never seen as many crawfish anywhere I've been. I mean, the Susky it takes the cake. I remember drifting a couple years ago, my first time up there. The water was real low, and I remember going in between these islands, and I had to even get out in some places. The kayak wouldn't float with me in it. But the sections where you would float, it's just as I'm going along, it's like the bottom starts moving and like clearing a path. And it's just, hundreds of these things up there. And I think that that's a huge factor in why those fish get big up there. There's a massive source of protein. No gobies, but crawfish will still grow them big.
So what's your main methods? Like, are you just having fun power fishing, or you get a little freaky on them?
I've tried to kind of experiment with different stuff. I've done more finessey stuff. Like Missile just came out with, they've had this little micro jig for a couple of years now. I forget what year they came out with it. And I had someone, I'd play with them a little bit, but they came out like, Andy, we did a Lure Lab episode on the D-Bomb. I'm a big fan of that bait. And they make a smaller one. Well, they came out with a micro size that's just like the perfect size to go on that little micro jig. I don't even know, it's like 2 point something inches. I mean, it's tiny, tiny. But like my first trip out with it, I think in the first 2 hours I had a 20 on that thing. And I'm still sort of learning when, and I feel like that's kind of like the $1,000 question in all of fishing is like, when do you put down the power fishing? Like when do you make the switch? And I'm starting to learn, when I can get away with a glide bait or, a chatterbait or spinnerbait or, big gaudy spinnerbait versus when I can do the finessey stuff. And a lot of the places around here right now, we've had really low water. Everything's low to where it's difficult to even do a float. I do a lot of launching and then going upriver, trying to get to places other people won't go. But the little finessey stuff, when it's, midday, sunny, bright, slick, calm, that little finessey stuff, it's amazing how many fish you can catch, and that big ones will still eat those little tiny baits.
Yeah.
The other one, have you ever tried I think Nolan was the first one to kind of bring it to the forefront in kayak fishing. The little evergreen gizmo bug.
Yeah, I had one on. All I could catch was freaking 12 inchers last week.
I think I bought 4 of them or something a couple years ago. I just never threw them. It's a little tricky to cast. You've got to have kind of a rod with a soft tip. But yeah. I've got this medium light. I mean, I would probably do better if a little bit longer rod would probably cast it better. Something like a spy bait rod. But this will sling with that light tip. As long as you're not throwing in the wind and stuff, I can sling it pretty far. And the same kind of thing, that first trip going through places where I was trying to power fish with a glide bait or something else and going through some of these places. And it's amazing how big a smallmouth will eat that little tiny thing that isn't doing anything. It's almost like fly fishing, just drifting the thing, and then you drift it by a big boulder, and fish you didn't see pops up and eats it, and it's a cool bite. So I've definitely been leaning more towards the finesse stuff here lately. But when we get a little bit of rain, the water starts to rise a little bit, I'll break out the Chapo style baits, the ploppers, and when the water gets some color, I really like a chatterbait, and it just I guess I'm getting better. I feel like I'm getting better anyway at making decisions on, okay, when's the time to put that down and pick up something else and keep getting bit.
Yeah. It's crazy to me. I was throwing that Champo 120, and I had one of the similar, and I'm trying to remember the exact measurement of it for the plopper. But same color, same size. And it was crazy how much the Chapo's louder.
Yeah.
Than the plopper.
I think it's they both have a 90, and then I think there's a 110 in the plopper, and I think there's a 130 is the big one.
Yeah. Well, I think isn't there a 160 or something like that for the plopper?
Magnum.
Yeah. I've never heard of anybody throwing that one for bass. I've heard of a lot of guys.
Challenge accepted.
Texas. I wonder what you could do with that
Florida.
thing in Texas.
Yeah, too. Florida, California, if you're on the right lake, right? Maybe the Delta.
Yeah, I've been playing
now.
The 90. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Talk about places where they might not have seen it.
Yeah, you kidding.
Take it to places where they're not getting, beat up by bass boats, every single day.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I like playing around with the different sizes. I know the 110 seems to be the 110 in the plopper, or the 120 maybe in the Chapo. I feel like that mid size is the one that everybody throws for the most part. So I've done a lot of damage with the 90.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like I don't like the 90 that much. I think it's a setup issue. I like the 75. I don't know why, but the 75 seems to pull harder than the 90 does.
On the plopper, definitely. But it's weird for me because I started with the plopper. I didn't get a real distinct. I feel like that the 90 and the plopper is just really soft. But you go to the 75 and it's a bigger body, and it's shorter, but it's fat. I've done a lot better with that one on the plopper side. But then when I switched to the Chapo, something about that stiff tail, I assume anyway, like it's a little bit softer material in that whopper plopper that I just don't think it's as consistent of a sound as you get with a Chapo. But I've experimented back and forth, especially here lately. And like the other day, I smashed some big smallies with that 110, and it's a size I don't normally throw, but I was like, let me see what it's about. And so I've gone back and forth. I don't know that there's a wrong answer with those. It's especially for a place like the Susky where you got these mean fish. It's
a profile sound thing,
and they hit it so hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got some crazy content coming from that trip. It's just, I sent Andy a glimpse of it, and it was just, I mean, Justin, they just come absolutely unglued on this stuff,
and then come 3 foot out of the water, and it's when they get in that fast current too, it is. Like, I hooked one the other day on a much smaller river that just, I mean, the way that it was ripping the drag,
it's fighting for its life. That's all it's doing.
Oh yeah, but it just, I don't know, something about the power. Like for a minute, I'm like, this is the biggest smallmouth I've ever caught in my life, and it wasn't. But
15 inch.
Ouch, man! Ouch.
No, like, dude, it's crazy. I'm like Niagara here, like the 2.5 pound fish, like that 15 to 17 inch range, are the most insane fighting fish that you'll ever hook. Like we hooked a few today that came 3 foot out of the water 5-6 times, and you're like, gosh, I have a giant, but I know it's only 2.5 pounds. They have like a heart of a lion at that size.
Mm-hmm.
Just pure sass. They're fun. I'll
take
you,
Andy. You're pure sass.
Oh yeah.
Andy, up there on the Great Lakes, dude, are those sorts of baits a player for you ever, those power fishing techniques, or is it a lot more finesse?
They can be. It's very situational. It's not even situational, it's seasonal. So like in the summertime, water gets real clear. The fish do some weird things, and you have to kind of finesse them. Like you can catch them power fishing right now, but your biggest fish most of the time comes finessing. Now, when you're in like April, May, depending on where you're fishing, power fishing is like the deal. Or later on, like end of September through November, like if you want to catch a big bag, you better be power fishing. You better leave the sissy sticks at home and have some fun.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like they'll still eat the finesse stuff, but like a crankbait in like late fall some days is just unreal. Like Bailey and I have had a few days on the Upper Niagara that's like, what the heck just happened? We might have been wearing Santa suits the one time and just get by every single car. But how big was that bag? Like 27, I think, 28
Something
pounds.
like that in like literally 2
minutes.
hours.
Yeah. Once
Wearing
you figured out what
brown
they were
fish.
doing, yeah, in Santa suits.
Goodness.
It was
That is nuts.
yeah. And they wouldn't eat anything else besides a crankbait burned. Like
It's nuts.
and the water, I think, was like 46, 47 degrees.
Shoot. Like, see, for me, when it gets that cold, I'm like, all right, I can't catch them on moving bait now. I got to go finesse.
Sometimes I don't know why it is, but in the fall, sometimes speed kills these fish to where they just have to have it. And I think it's like a biological thing. They're like, winter's coming, it's cold, but that's a meal and I need to eat it now. And they rip the rod out of your hand every time.
Oh,
Every single time.
Justin's like, God damn it, Andy, stop it.
I think that was like
I'm
one of the
so
most
jealous.
fun weeks I've ever had smallmouth fishing was that week in November, Bailey. I think we put like between the 2 or 3 days that Bailey and I fished and then like 2 or 3 guide trips, I think I boated like 1,000 smallmouth in 6
Oh my
days on one
gosh.
spot.
What does that do to your hands?
My body like just shut down. Like you're like this by the end of the day. You're like,
Oh my gosh.
oh yeah.
Andy was toast.
Oh yeah, it was fun. Like I got to a point I was like 6 hours and I'm like, I don't even care. Like just if you want to catch him, go ahead. I'm just gonna sit down. My forearms hurt, my shoulders hurt, my back hurts, my hands are bleeding.
Yeah, I haven't had that feeling very often, but there's definitely days where I kind of had it this spring. I was lucky enough to get my first double digit. And when that happened, it was just kind of like, I'm good. Like, I mean, I think part of me still wants to keep fishing a little bit, but it's like the something about the attitude just changed. It's like, wow, I feel really good right now. I don't need to cast anymore. I could just go, sit and look at enjoy being outside. And then I've not had that experience very often, but it's usually when I run into just one of those freak fish.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I've seen a huge transition in my fishing style probably in the last 2-3 years. So since I've gone full time, like fisherman and guide, right? Like catching fish, like, yes, it's the best thing ever. But now I'm to a point that I want to seek out and figure out different ways to catch them. And then once I catch them, like, okay, this is really fun. So like on guide trips, I experiment with new baits all the time just to see, like tweak them, and I'll fish it until I get one to bite on and see if I can duplicate it. Or if I'm out by myself, right? And I'm like, all right, I've caught 5 off this spot. Like there's 500 more. Let me go see if I can find a bigger fish somewhere, or let me go graph for 2 hours and find something new. Like, because on my days off, I don't need to catch fish. I catch plenty of them. I just want to learn more. Now that I have free time to learn, I can't believe how much I've actually learned.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, and the little things too, like like little lessons you learn is like, instead of just running to a spot that the fish are going to be, like on one of the local lakes here, I do a hot lap now around the lake just to look at everything that's going on before I even make a cast.
Yeah.
Just to figure out what's going on that day, because the aquatic vegetation changes daily. You might be dead in one area of the lake a week ago, and then you go back the next week and it's all lush and green, but you bypassed it because it was gone last week. So it's like it's like us, right? There's constant change, and the only way you're going to find that change is if you go looking for it. instead of like, oh, well, I can't believe I didn't catch anything. No, they're there to be caught. You just have to figure out where and why and how. So
Grass. You're talking about grass. It's got me missing the Potomac.
yeah.
I lived up that way, and I spent a lot of time on grass fisheries. And where I am now, there's just not places like that. And yeah, I miss. It's been a while. I cannot wait. I'm gonna get up there a little bit later this year, I think, and try to get on a punch bite because it's been too long since I've caught one punching.
Have fun. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Does the grass top out in places up there? I'm guessing not on Erie, but
on lakes at times, but as soon as you find that bite and you go back 2 days later, it's usually chopped or sprayed or killed or all the above. So it's like, yeah, you get like little windows, and then like where you're punching might be chopped, killed, and sprayed. So now you have to go find the new section of the lake that might be topped out because a week ago it might not have been. So it's just like, yeah.
Gotcha. I didn't realize they sprayed up your way too.
Oh, spray. But what do they do? Spray, they do pellets, and then they cut as well.
The thing with the big like wheel looks like a steamboat kind of.
Yeah, the pinwheel or whatever.
You get the whole gamut.
Yeah, they do everything to our lakes.
I hate it.
Yeah,
and there's some lakes that they don't touch because why would they? But like most of them, yeah. Any lakes that have more than like 100 docks on them, guaranteed they're sprayed, cut, or carpet bombed with like pesticide pellets or whatever it would be that kill the grass.
Just the homeowner associations, the lake, don't want the grass on the dock.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. It's not correct.
Enough for an entire episode.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we've had plenty of episodes on it.
I've gone on rants.
We're just peons, man. Like really, like the anglers represent what 1% of the population that probably uses the lake on. Like a bass fisherman is probably 1% of the total anglership that, or people that use these lakes on any given day or on during the.
I would say 1%. I give it a lot higher than that.
Maybe. Well, I mean, like, let's take a local Finger Lake that's surrounded by docks, right? Like, how many true bass fishermen, are on that lake on average throughout the year?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's one thing I've been learning with some things that I don't want to speak on just yet. Is
I feel a rant coming.
They're now full on rant. That's coming soon, but not on this show. Is we can say the true bass fishermen, which I agree with you, Andy, from this. I think those are the people that can see and acknowledge an issue or a problem. I would say a true bass fisherman on a total day. Let's take Keuka Lake as an example, because this is one of the extremes from a boating standpoint. Is I would slap 20% on that, man. Because if you go to the ramp, how many bass boats you see that go out there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
that's
also
fair.
take pontoon boats that are people that aren't exactly boating all the time, but there's a decent amount that they're spending fishing. They're still impacted by the things that are happening on the lake. They might notice it, but they don't exactly understand what's happening. Whereas the avid bass, walleye, all those guys will understand. Then you have guys that go out for different species. Like if you go on Cayuga in the spring, there's a crap ton of guys that go out there for perch, and they completely outweigh the bass guys. And then right now in the summer, like throughout the year, there's guys that guide. I mean, we know Kurt Hofig, he goes out for Lakers. He does. He's a freaking hammer from a multi-species standpoint. So the actual percentage, I think, of total anglers on a lake, I think quite honestly rivals.
Yeah. I'm sure it's close to 50-50.
Months, man. Yeah. It's 2 months where the anglers are out there for majority of the year. So I think there's different points here. Yeah. There's different categories here that we can call out where it's, and this is one thing I really want to use to defend anglers, and especially in New York, is the boaters, they're going to be out there from June to August. The anglers are going to be out there all damn year long. If you want to look at total number of boats or total time spent on the water and money invested in your local economy, I'm going to take anglers all the way.
100%. Yeah, I agree. I was just saying, like, in totality, how like what's the percentage of bass fishermen on average, like in a fully rigged out bass boat, right? Like, or just a bass boat in general on a lake on any given day. Like some lakes there might be 2 out all day with 200 pleasure boaters, and others there's
Yeah, I
50
mean,
bass boats out with
Hmm.
20 pleasure boaters. So like it's every lake is different. But
right, of course, it depends on region, depends on location. Like I'd say, like, you look at Lake Gunnersville, and I'd say anglers outweigh boaters.
oh,
I could be
without a
wrong there,
doubt.
but like at least from my perception.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I find that's interesting is they found in 2023 that fishing participation actually rose from 53 to 55 million participants.
It's a lot of people.
55 million is freaking ridiculous. That's more than golf. And which is then you can go down the whole rabbit hole of why the hell isn't there more money in fishing than with that so many total participants. Then you can go in down the rabbit hole of how the hell are we paying golfers this much, and fishing entry fees had gone up and payouts gone down. But that's a whole other thing. I don't feel like going in on tournament organizations.
Corporate sponsorship.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think participation wise, I think we honestly underestimate how many people actually fish.
Yeah, so like 55 million people in the United States who fish is 16% of the total population of the United States of America, right? Like it's still, unfortunately, it's a big number, but it's a small number compared to speaking to the average population. You'd have to calculate it, I would think, based on how many people actually use waterways, plus how many people live on the waterways and don't have boats, etc. Like there's so much that goes into it. It's unreal. And unfortunately, like in today's society, the recreational, the professional angler or the avid outdoorsman kind of gets the door slammed on them, right? Like we don't have a voice based on what everyone thinks. There's bigger minority groups out there that probably have a bigger voice than we do and can do stuff that
I mean, there's the people with the money, but then there's actual studies that have been shown that anglers and fishermen anglers and hunters are the sole people taking care of the actual fisheries and land that we use to recreate.
Yeah, and we're the ones that are literally, I don't know how to say this appropriately at the moment.
We're not the ones trashing land and fisheries. We're the ones actually protecting and keeping it clean.
Well, I mean, if you want to go like that route, right? Like look at environmental, what am I looking for here? Like the call to action groups that do like these environmental sit-ons, right? Not PETA, but like
PETA that throws a celebration party at a local park and lights uses the confetti cannons and doesn't pick it up. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like the environmentalists that go out and sit at a park and leave all their trash behind when they leave, right? Like we're not those people. Like we preach about. There's so many people out there that preach about cleaning our environment, but then they don't practice what they preach. As to our avid outdoorsmen and recreationalists, I think for the most part actually practice what they preach, which we just kind of get, like I said, the door shut in our face when we try to raise a voice or opinion because we're seen as such small minority and not everyone will stand up for it. Just it's 1% of the total amount of people that actually use the outdoor space that try to raise a voice, and it goes nowhere.
Well, and that's
I'd be happy with just a compromise. Like I get the perspective of, that there's a bunch of different groups all trying to share a resource. I get the perspective of, if I've bought property on a lake, I've paid whatever it costs to put a dock out there. Maybe I don't want grass on it, but I feel like there's, at least from what I see, like some of the, was it Harris chain after Hobie was there this year that got absolutely nuked? And it was Apopka, which is like the amount of surface area on that lake. It's not like it's a Lake of the Ozarks where you've got docks everywhere. And I mean, it like that to me doesn't make sense. I feel like we can make some compromises, and sure, I don't have an issue with cleaning up certain sections of the lake with limiting the amount of grass, but the idea that we need to totally nuke it everywhere is just like, I don't see how.
it's going to take a bunch of anglers and outdoors folk to quit complaining about it and actually do something about it. Like if you look at Gunnersville, the amount of boats that went out when they were supposed to do spraying, whatever, and they blocked the whole thing so people couldn't get by.
Bravo.
There's a whole picture on it. Like every 10 yards, there was another bass boat that basically would not let these people in to go do any spraying. They said, get the hell off the lake. And now there's a whole new, that's become like the guideline to how you operate. And like especially for anglers that are trying to defend their home water. Like I know in the Finger Lakes, they put down a pesticide, or it's not a pesticide, a herbicide that in Vermont, they've banned from using on their lakes because it's too harmful for not even just the plants, but the people. And we'll use that in our lakes.
And people swim in it and we eat the fish from it. And
and honestly, it's an education thing too, because from my understanding, the governing bodies hire and outsource third parties to come do the spraying. And that means you're relying on somebody that likely doesn't have a degree in fisheries biology or biology in general that is looking for this grass, that they're probably given an image on a black and white piece of paper that morning and says, hey, go look for this piece of grass. And it's like, oh, I think that looks like that. And chances are they don't, because I've told this before, I've brought 2 pieces of milfoil to one of these people that sit at the ramp that do the invasive species things. And, I feel bad for them. They're doing their job. But I went up to them. I said, hey, which one's hydrola milfoil? And they pointed to one. And I was like, oh, that's funny. They're both milfoil. And so they don't know what they're looking for. And they're the ones that are trying to help identify all this stuff. So it's honestly, a lot of it, I think it's just the fact they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Something to do it.
It was Caddo a couple of years ago. I was down there, and the Salvinia is a problem down there. That's a nasty one. I got no problem with them trying to get rid of that stuff because it reproduces so fast, it spreads so fast, and it just chokes everything out. But the section where I saw the boat with these just gigantic, 55-gallon drums, and it looks like a military, it almost looks like they've got a gun on a turret, like spraying this thing. And the stretch of bank that they went down the shoreline and just lit it up, and there was no Salvinia there. Like, I'm all for hitting the Salvinia, but don't just go spray everything. Like, don't do it indiscriminately. I just
have a rhyme.
I don't know how you fix it.
I mean, the fix is us anglers having a seat at the table. That's the big fix, and that being backed by biologists that put research and science behind doing what they do. I mean, we talked with Jake Norman with Steve Barden the other night, last week's episode. And they went, and instead of spraying some of was it the hyacinth, Andy, you were saying, or the pad stems or whatever, just in general?
Yeah,
but
it was
they pull them manually with their hands. They don't go and spray them for that reason.
Yeah, it was on fork, right? Yeah, I think it was the hyacinth on fork.
Yeah. So it's like this stuff isn't hard. It's just getting the right people and that know what the hell they're talking about versus listening to Karen on our dock complaining, oh, my dog's going to drown in the grass in front of my dock.
What was the guy that you ran into? Somebody ripped the transducer off my boat or something.
Oh, yeah. I was fishing.
Fisherman.
He goes, hey, respect my private property, would you? Like, yeah, I haven't given you any reason to. And he goes, well, somebody ripped something off my boat or whatever. And I'm like, did you see me do it? Was it me? No. Shut the hell up. I'm trying to fish over here.
Yeah, people will just be angry to be angry. Like, and when like the thing I try to remember is, like, somebody's angry at you on that day, they probably have far more things that are going wrong with their life.
Yeah.
At this point, I just smile and move on. I'm like, good luck, bud. Like,
I still remember the one that Andy and I were fishing.
Oh God!
And we're fishing this guy's dock, and it's like choked out, and we're like in there, like it's gonna take us a little bit to even get out. And this dude's like, and he just caught a giant off the guy's dock, and this guy has like his grandkids.
Oh, he's just barking,
and he just comes out, and it's like cussing all over for no reason, coming up at not even like, hey guys, can you please get away from my dock? Not even like somewhat respectful. Which when they do that, I mean, I
Sure,
might be
thanks.
polite. Depending on the day, I might tell them, be like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
yeah.
yeah, I'll get away," but like, just so you know, I don't have to. Just kind of give them.
Yeah.
But if I'm having a good day, I'll be like, "Yeah, sure, no problem. Sorry about that." But this guy came out like this, and Andy just trying to be respectful and nice. I let the dude have it. And I'm like, so if you want to swear in front of your kids, I'll swear in front of your kids. If you want to be guys,
Because you guys are being terrible role models. Like, I'm like, role models. I was like, you're swearing in front of your grandkids.
Yeah. He goes, you're really showing these kids how to, you fishing on people's property. And I'm like, no, you don't own any of this. I'm fishing under your property.
Yeah.
You don't see me on your property at all. And the dude's just going off. And I'm not super proud of it, but the dude had it coming to him. I just looked at him and I'm like, dude, all you're doing is just being the biggest whiny. Like, I didn't say, like, I'm not gonna say all the words that I said on here, but I'm like, you're being the biggest whiny, whatever. And I'm like, just go put a freaking I was like, go put a freaking tampon in and F off. And then we got out of there. And the next dock, Andy caught a big one, and Andy's just like, oh yeah, they're all over the dock. Like, just made a spectacle of it. Just some people deserve it, man.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I hit the pontoon boat as I was leaving the dock too. Like, just ding. He's like,
well, I remember specifically because it took a while to get out of there. I kept casting under his feet. just
Oh gosh.
Hey, look, this is definitely not the way to handle it.
We were the steering
this is not the way to handle it. It's just when somebody deserves it. Like,
yeah.
There was the cherry on top was we won that tournament too. So like
it was
nice.
It was even better. But that same lake, there was a story of a guy on a kayak event. And he's a Chinese dude that fishes our kayak stuff. And basically a guy came out being super racist to him. Well, I got around through the tournament that this guy did that. So then there was 15 kayak anglers casting at his dock for like an hour just to piss him off.
Oh, that's the way you respond to a situation, right?
That is anglers uniting there.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you want to do that?
Anglers for change.
No dock left unfished.
Yeah, this one lake though is just so horrible. Like I've had it before. I'll fish this one dock, and I've had it 3 different times. I'll fish it. I know he's gonna come out every time, but there's always good fish under it. And he comes out and he sits like this and he stares at me at the end of his dock. And I'll look and he won't say anything. So I just kind of go on my business, and he'll be like doing all these things and just like being snooty. I'm like, hey man, you having a good morning? And I'll be like super over like peppy.
Yeah. I try to do that. I try to be nice, but
hi.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's such a great day.
this is the best dock on the lake.
Yeah.
So much zest.
Oh man. Well, we're going down the freaking rabbit hole now. And probably should stop while we're here. Especially because I'm about to fall asleep on this thing. But Justin, we got to get you on here more often, man. It's been good to catch up a little bit. We got the KFW dropping here tomorrow with Jake Harshman doing some power fishing, river fishing tips. So that'll be good. But what can people keep up with? What's to come for Mr. Justin Largent here soon?
Well, what I'm hoping to do, we're going to follow up that power fishing smallmouth with kind of the opposite, a finesse episode is the plan. So working that, and that's next on the horizon. Guys are welcome to check out my personal stuff. Lately, it's been a bunch of little smallmouth reels, but yeah, I'm looking forward to. I honestly got to get the graph fixed on my my Outback. I geniusly smashed the screen on my Lowrance, so I've got to get that fixed. And
you got to
get
stop
out.
casting glide baits at your Lowrance, buddy.
Yeah. No, it's a stupid story. I took the, they give you the little case, the protective case to put on there, and it's like, I don't need to do that. I'll just put it in my seat for my kayak, and I've got that seat behind the driver's seat. I go to take it out, tournament morning, not thinking, forgot the thing was in there. Just go swinging the seat out and right into the right into the gravel ramp, and just destroyed it. So you turn it on, and then it thinks you're pressing all over the screen, so it's just beep 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 beep. Yeah, it's So yeah, I got to get that fixed and then get after some largemouth here at some point. But yeah, if you want to see smallmouth, check out my Instagram and yeah, the KFW page.
Cool. Well, folks, you guys know where to tune in. The links are all down below for that as well. And boys, this was fun. Anything else before we wrap up? Anything else I might have missed?
Anglers unite.
Anglers unite.
1, 2, 3. Anglers unite. Yes.
And on that note,
hands to the center, boys.
Folks, appreciate y'all. You guys are amazing, and we'll see you next week. Peace.